On ESPN's Monday Night Football, got a great matchup this week. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Denver Broncos. Couple of division leaders knocking heads. Steelers-Broncos, ESPN's Monday Night Football at 8:30 Eastern. Coverage starts with Monday Night Countdown, served by Applebee's at 7 Eastern. A big day for Kurt Busch. Today could turn into a really big day for Michael McGee, who owns a horse training business and is an agricultural teacher in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. McGee was selected in a promotion as the 2009 Dickies American Worker of the Year. And yesterday in a random draw, he picked Kurt Busch to win the race. If Kurt wins the race, McGee gets $1 million today. Kurt's not a bad pick. He starts third, Vince.
Well, that's exactly right, and boy, what a great day it would be for that lucky fan, and a good day for Kurt Busch too if you could bring home that victory and that $1 million for that lucky fan. Do you have a winning car today? You're starting up toward the front.
Yeah, we start third, and it's just going to be a matter of settling in and seeing how fast the track's going to be. You know, we're going to have this daytime run, then we'll go into the night. So we feel like our Miller Lite Dodge is poised. We got a lucky fan riding along with us today, but we also have Operation Homefront. We've been racing with this paint scheme for the last 5-6 weeks. $200,000 donated to Operation Homefront, which is military families in need. We're hoping to put together a good run today and bring it on home, bump ourselves up in points.
Great cause for sure. How about you got a new teammate today, Brad Keselowski, making his Penske Cup debut. Any initiation that you've pulled any good tricks on him today you can tell us about?
Well, after we got in a run together last week at Talladega, he flew with us to the Daytona test, and I told him, I say, we got 5 people on the airplane and only 4 parachutes. Where's yours? But it's going to be good. The kid's running hard. He's very tenacious, and he's got a good work ethic. Not that David Stremme didn't, but hey, it's a new try for somebody, and we hope that it fits into our program well.
Keep your eye on the 2 car today, Alan.
All right, thank you, Vince. And again, Kurt Busch starts third. Just want to let you know what that big helicopter was doing when it was in the background of that interview. Bringing the pace car into the racetrack.
Oh, that is cool, man.
And the reason they went with the big helicopter drop is because the track president, Eddie Gossage, found out that a space shuttle pilot is a season ticket holder here at Texas Motor Speedway. So driving that pace car off the helicopter is Space Shuttle Endeavour pilot Doug Hurley, a United States Marine Corps colonel, who's bringing in that car.
That's awesome.
That is cool, man. That is really a great idea.
It got my attention. They said a Space Shuttle pilot's a NASCAR fan and a racing season ticket holder. I thought that was pretty cool. So there you go. That's what the big helicopter was doing just a minute ago. Now, everything is bigger in Texas, right? The way they bring the pace car in, even some of the TV announcers are bigger in Texas. Our man Brad found a Texas-sized food source at the track that might actually be big enough to feed his 7-foot frame.
We're here at the wonderful Texas Speedway. I was out wandering around looking for something to eat, and I smelled this wonderful aroma coming from this big white tent. So I came over here to be a little bit nosy, and lo and behold, it's a full-blown grocery store in here. Man, I know you got some good food, I can smell it, but I want to see how legit you are as a store. I want to know if you have my favorite product on the store.
I bet we'll pass the test. How's this?
Man!
How'd we do?
You got a full entree of the best, baby.
You know that aroma that you were smelling out in the parking lot?
Yeah.
I'll go show you where it came from.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Oh,
looks pretty good, don't it?
That looks unbelievable. What y'all gonna eat? Oh, son.
Time to eat.
That. Look at that. It's one scoop of them Busch baked beans. Woo! Slap your mama good, boy.
Would you like to hear corn, sir?
Well,
you gonna stay them ribs. You want any salt or butter or anything on it?
No, I'm trying to watch my figures. I'm putting that one back. It wasn't no good. Now, we know how to do ribs back in North Carolina, but you boys in Texas, I think y'all might have us covered.
Rusty, I don't know if you noticed the constant theme of these things, but Brad goes out and finds all this good food around the racetrack.
Yep.
And he never brings us any.
Nothing.
It doesn't bring us anything, and I can't believe how big that grocery store was, right in the middle of a racetrack, Brad. What was that all about?
I hadn't paid for a meal all year. I've been eating for free. It is unbelievable. That grocery store, Brookshire's grocery store, and William Aiken there, who's the vice president of the company, it is really a nice place. Quality products in that store, so any race fan can go in and buy things there, and it's just outstanding. They do a great job.
Are we done talking about your
food?
And
the ribs were
Can we talk about the racing again?
I'm going to get some more of them ribs.
All right.
We're going racing, Brad.
Let's go back to the grid. Shannon, help me out here.
Well, I'll help you out with Mark Martin. How about that? Second in the points, 184 out of first. Alan Gustafson, your crew chief, said now is the time for you guys to start to roll the dice, be a little more aggressive. How aggressive are you willing to get to gain points on Jimmie in this championship hunt?
Most of that's Alan's call, so you know, we'll see. You know, I race my guts out every single race, and you know, we're going to continue to do that. But a lot of that comes from the calls that you make, you know, pit calls and calls you make on setup stuff. And at this point in time, you know, we don't have a lot to lose. We're working hard to try to be the best that we possibly can, and we don't have to protect or guard, you know, a whole lot. So we'll see how it turns out today. Those guys are really good at coming up with new stuff for Sunday morning. The setup that's in this car really hadn't been under it so this weekend. So every time they've done that before, it's worked out well, and I love my team, and we're going to race our guts out no matter what.
Let's talk about teammates for a second. You currently are 1, 2, 3 with Hendrick Motorsports in the points. How has the fact that you guys are battling each other for a championship changed the team dynamic that may have existed earlier in the season when no points were on the line?
I haven't seen anything, you know. This is my first year, but everything seems to be the same as it has been, you know, all throughout the year. We work off the racetrack as a 4-car team to make our 4 cars the best 4 on the racetrack, and when we get on the racetrack, we race to win.
Mark Martin racing to win today. He rolls off 7th. Alan?
Okay, Shannon, thanks. A couple things to watch for in today's race. First, tricky turn number 2.
Turn 2 is going to be a big problem today. It was yesterday if you watch a nationwide race.
Skid marks.
That's unbelievable, man.
Look at it. Come off at turn 2. Wham! Right in the wall. The banking really falls off big time. Let's watch this again. Loses grip right into the wall.
That's Jeff Burton in Friday practice.
Yeah,
Then Kevin Harvick in Saturday practice.
Yeah, I mean,
same thing.
Kevin, same spot, comes off the corner, a little 4-wheel drift. I'm telling you, that's a Texas rattlesnake over there in turn 2. We got to watch that all day long.
That's never a good sound from the side of a race car.
The banking falls away so quick. These cars are going so hard, and everybody's digging coming off that corner. You just run out of room before you know it.
We saw the skid marks off at turn 2. I mean, you're going to see that again, folks. I mean, this particular track, it happens all the time. I don't know if Bruton designed it that way.
Rattlesnake.
But look at that. Look at those skid marks. It flattens out, no grip, no banking, bam, into that wall. But hey, since yesterday, they've repainted that wall. I noticed that.
They had to do that.
Double file restarts in the Nationwide Series race yesterday. We noticed that the outside lane was the place to be. In fact, this restart, Kevin Harvick in the 33, that's about the only time anybody passed Kyle Busch all day.
Oh, I love that outside track right here. I mean, he gets the momentum on the outside of the racetrack, especially in the day's race where these cars don't handle as well as these cars. That outside lane is going to be better yet. Keep that momentum. They'll love that top of that racetrack.
But wouldn't it be the other way around? If they don't handle as well and the tires, you know, are going to go away because the track's being eaten up, wouldn't you want that inside lane so you'd have a little bit more of an advantage getting through the corner?
Not really, because the outside lane, they can take that right rear quarter panel, Brad, lean against the air, get more downforce, get more momentum. The guy in the bottom of the racetracks got to be a little more careful. He doesn't have that air flowing down the right side of that car, which causes these cars to get loose.
Our J-Ski news and notes now. Danica Patrick reported to be near a deal with Junior Motorsports to run some Nationwide Series races next year. Toyota says even though they're pulling out of Formula One racing, they're still committed to NASCAR. Kyle Busch's Nationwide Series team facing a penalty, including a possible loss of points for improperly secured weight in the opening Thursday inspection here at Texas, not after the race yesterday. And we mentioned earlier Brad Keselowski making his Penske Racing debut today, replacing David Stremme in the 12 car. We're getting ready to go racing at Texas Motor Speedway. This track 148 miles from Fort Hood in Killeen, Texas. The pre-race ceremony will include a remembrance of the victims of those tragic shootings Thursday. Fort Worth, Texas, and the Texas Motor Speedway, where race 8 in the chase for the Sprint Cup, the Dickies 500, goes green shortly on a beautiful autumn afternoon. It's one of NASCAR's fastest tracks. Jeff Gordon's pole-winning speed, the second fastest of the season. 500 miles here, no Sunday cruise. It's a full day's work for the drivers. A place where a little wiggle can turn into a big crash in a hurry, and a place where victory will be hard-earned. Let's go trackside.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the 302nd Military Police Company, United States Army Color Guard out of Grand Prairie, Texas, presents our nation's colors. And please join us in a moment of silence in memory of those who lost their lives in the tragic events that took place Thursday at nearby Fort Hood. Please remain standing as Dr. Roger Marsh of Texas Alliance Raceway Ministries offers today's invocation.
Heavenly Father, today we bow before you at the Great American Speedway, and we do give thanks for all the many blessings that you bring our way. We pray for the families of those who have suffered, and in the same way, Father, we pray for all the troops around the world as they protect our freedoms. We're grateful now for the excitement of racing, and we pray that as we prepare for this afternoon event, we ask you to watch over everyone involved. Thank you for the sponsors, the staff, the fans, everyone. Bless us now as we go racing. In Jesus' name I pray it. Amen.
With a huge win yesterday over San Diego State, the now 4th-ranked Horned Frogs remain undefeated. Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome the TCU Marching Band.
Always quite the scene, the final moments before a race. So now the drivers begin to climb aboard, buckle in. Been plenty of drama in this race the last 2 years. 2008, it was Jimmie Johnson struggling while Carl Edwards dominated, then stretched his fuel to the win. 2 years ago, it was Johnson and Matt Kenseth locked up in a terrific fight to the finish. Jeff Gordon won the most recent race here. He starts on the pole today. What will today's story be? The engines fire at Texas. Next.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Dickies, wear with purpose. Ford. See why Ford Racing's top drivers love the all-new Taurus from Ford. And AT&T. Vote for the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award. From your AT&T phone, text the card number of the pit crew you think is the fastest and most valuable in today's race to 2258. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network.
Previously in the chase.
We're going to have to be extra patient today. Waiting. Go get him, dude. Go get him, man.
Full trouble further back. Ryan Newman up and over.
How about bring it for pitting? I don't want to take any chances. I'm running out of fuel. It's going to be a long one. Save a lot.
I'm out, dude. I'm out. And all these drivers peeling off to get fuel is really helping the 48 car.
I may kiss you when this is over, Chad.
Mark Martin upside down barrel roll. Smart starting out from behind.
26 to victory lane. It is official. I like it a lot. Good job. Great job today, Jimmy. Patience prevailed. Your call prevailed. Thank you.
12 drivers, 10 races, 1 champion. It's a tradition out west. Find something that can't be ridden and ride it. Strap yourself to a few thousand pounds of raw power and hang on for all you're worth. A dozen riders have hung on longer than the rest. Now, several are close to letting go. While those who maintain their grasp have set their sights on the lone star out front. They will all have to ride this high-banked beast a lot longer than just 8 seconds. It's time to cowboy up, because this ain't their first rodeo, but it could be their last shot at riding away a champion.
In the land of the Longhorn, we are ready for race 8 in the chase for the Sprint Cup 500 miles at the Texas Motor Speedway. The two lead stories on the day: does Jimmie Johnson continue his stampede towards the title, or will Texas pull in the reins on his run at championship history? Speaking of history, Kyle Busch, after winning here Friday night and Saturday afternoon, trying to become the first to sweep 3 NASCAR National Series races at one track in one weekend. Those are just 2 of the Cowboys in this roundup. The other 41 will have something to say about who rides off into the sunset with the trophy as the Texas winner today. Let's go trackside for the command.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome that little old band from Texas, ZZ Top.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Clear. Crank it up. Crank them up, gang. Crank them up. Crank it up. So just keep it on it. Nationwide cars are starting to work on it yesterday. Some of the guys are getting, 18 cars and stuff were getting going on it. So it'll come in now.
All right, almost time for the field to roll off, so it's time for us to go upstairs to 3 men who'll help us wrangle our way through this drive. They look good in some of those ZZ Top beards, too. But the suits are sharp as well. Send it up to Dale Jarrett, Andy Petrie, and Dr. Jerry Punch with one of those little waves like the guys used a minute ago. It's all you guys.
I love that, man. That was great. Hey, thank you very much, Alan. Hello, everyone. Glad to have you folks with us. Now, folks, just 3 races remain in this year's chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup, and Jimmie Johnson holds a comfortable 184-point lead. However, a year ago when he came here, he had a 183-point lead and lost almost half of it here in this race and had to hold on at Homestead to win that title by 69 points. Now, guys, if you're Chad Knaus and Jimmie Johnson, do you continue to attack or do you dial it back now and play it safe?
Well, if I'm Chad Knaus, I would be tempted to dial it back a little bit. With a 185-point lead, you could sit on that and carry this thing to the last race and make history. And I had a conversation with Jimmie Johnson on Friday, extended conversation. I said, Jimmy, are you going to sit on this lead and make history, or what is your strategy here? And he said, man, he said, we can win 2 more of these things. I want to win. That's what I want to do. And I said, well, I can appreciate that, but are you willing to risk giving away the championship? He said, we want to win races.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is these guys have to go do what they do best, what they've done better over the last 4 years than anybody else, and that's go try to win races. They're not very good at trying to sit back and analyze things and maybe say, okay, can we finish in the top 10 or top 12, and that's all we need to do. They're going to run hard here and try to go to victory lane today.
You know, Kyle Busch is not in the chase, but he could make a little history of his own if he could win this race here today. On Friday night, he picked up his 7th win of the year by winning the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race. And then last night, in dominant fashion, he led 179 laps to get his 8th win of the year in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And so if he were to win this race today, he would become the first driver in NASCAR history to pull off the triple at the same track in the same weekend. Guys, what are his chances?
Well, his chances, he's got the first 2 out of the way, but this one's going to be the hardest. This race today is going to be very difficult for him to win. He's got a new crew chief with Dave Rogers coming over from their nationwide team. They're starting to gel pretty good. They qualified good, kind of up and down in practice, but we talked to him earlier in the pre-race show, and he felt like he had a good shot at winning today if everything went his way. So he's got the one of the hard parts done. He's won 2 of them so far.
Yeah, and he obviously knows the field he's looking for around here, how to get the job done on the racetrack, but he's facing his stiffest competition with all of these other 42 cars that are out here today. He's got 2 things going against him, too. Toyota's never won here in the Cup Series at this racetrack, and Kyle Busch has never won the Cup Series at this racetrack. He's looking to change that today. Can he? He sure has a chance, and we're going to have fun watching him.
It should be fun to watch. And a Saturday Nationwide winner's never won the Cup race in the same weekend. And who knows it better than our in-race reporter, Kevin Harvick, who is a 4-time winner here in the Nationwide Series, but has never won a Cup race. That might change here today. Kevin will be joined by 7 other cars carrying onboard cameras, including 6 chase contenders. Kurt Busch, a 2004 champion. Montoya is there, the points leader, Jimmie Johnson, and Carl Edwards trying to get his first win this year. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Cars are rolling, and we are just moments away from the start of the Dickies 500 here, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race at Texas Motor Speedway. The starting grid rolling across the top of your screen, and while you watch that, let's check in with our in-race reporter, the driver of the Pennzoil Chevrolet, Kevin Harvick, who starts back in 24th position today.
Hey, Kevin, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy?
Got you, Dale.
Hey, Kevin, our first question comes from our mailbag, and Todd in Fort Wayne, Indiana asks, why did you bring a car that you've been using on short tracks to Texas? Are these cars so interchangeable that you can bring a short track car to a 1.5-mile track?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you know, the cars are built to however much downforce you can make. The rear ends and stuff are all in the same spot, so cars ran good for us, so we brought it here.
Hey, Kevin, over the weekend, we've seen that Turn 2 be the most troublesome spot on this racetrack. Has that become the most difficult part of this track, and if so, can you explain to our viewers why?
Yeah, Turn 2 is tough just because the banking goes away so fast up off the corner, and you got to run the car so free to make sure that the car doesn't push. So you're wide open at that point, and when the thing starts pushing, usually it takes off and you scrape the wall there.
All right, Kevin, have a great day, and thanks for talking with us. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Gil Martin.
Oh.
Hey, Gil, Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, Andy, I got you.
Hey, Gil, what have you guys done this weekend to try to minimize time spent on pit road and make up spots making pit stops?
I think one of the crucial things we work on every Saturday morning, Kevin's pretty good at it, is checking his speed on pit road and also seeing how long it takes him to get up onto the back straightaway, keeping all tires under the blend line off 1 and 2, and then seeing how far he can run wide open throttle into 3 and 4 coming onto pit road. And we usually get that point, he'll relay that to our spotter, and the spotter will remind him during the race just so that he knows how far he can attack pit road.
Okay, Gil, well, thanks for talking to us, and good luck today.
Thank you, Andy.
Should be fun to watch their progress throughout the day. Take a look at our Miller Lite Taste Greatness graphic. How about Hendrick Motorsports? 12 wins in 2009, including 7 1-2 finishes. Jimmie Johnson going for an unprecedented 4th consecutive NASCAR Sprint Cup championship. And no team has finished 1, 2, 3 in the history of NASCAR in the point standings. For more on this super team, let's go down to Vince Welch.
Well, Doc, you guys talked about the killer instinct of Jimmie Johnson and Chad Knaus and his 48 team, and I can tell you they're definitely going to have their foot on the gas today. In fact, before the race this afternoon, I was talking with Chad Knaus, and he said, you know that phrase, you can't win them all? He said that had to have been first uttered by a parent trying to console a child after they first suffered defeat. He said, I don't believe it. I believe we can win them all, and they're going to go out and try to take that checkered flag. First place today. Dave?
Vince, the other 2/3 of the Hendrick domination, Mark Martin and Jimmie Johnson. Think about the seasons that they've had. Mark has won 5 races this year. He was the top seed coming into the chase. Jeff Gordon was actually ahead of Jimmie Johnson in points before they reset them for the chase, and they believe that they have a chance to win today. Both teams say, though, they're about a step behind their teammate right now, but feel like they can be a factor at the end of this race and at the end of the season in a 1-2-3 Hendrick finish. Shannon?
Well, one team that is in the best position to reign on that Hendrick Motorsports parade is Juan Pablo Montoya in the 42. They're currently 4th in the points. Now, while this team is not giving up hope for their championship, they do realize that it's a long shot, but they still have some goals that they want to accomplish before the end of the season. They want to get that first win, and number 2, they want to finish 2nd in the points. Jamie?
Well, today marks the first official race that Kurt Busch and Brad Keselowski are teammates. What a difference a week makes. You remember back 1 week ago at Talladega, Brad was driving for a different team and bumped Kurt. Well, there were some harsh words after that race. Well, Monday, the two got together in a team meeting. Then they later flew on Kurt's plane. Well, they cut up, they had a good time, and they seemed to be all buddy-buddy. And speaking of buddy, let's go over to Mark Hollywood Armstrong. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Jamie, thank you very much. When you come to Texas Motor Speedway, you think speed, but the fastest car does not always win the race. With the pit window being 55 to 60 laps, last year's winner, Carl Edwards, went 69 laps to win the race. If someone does that today, this could be your best friend. And now to my friends in the booth.
Thank you, Hollywood. We'll be watching you all day long on pit road down there. Folks, this broadcast is available in Spanish by activating your SAP button, presented by ESPN Deportes. For the 5th time in the last 6 races, Jeff Gordon will start on the front row. He won this race back in the spring, starting in 2nd position. Folks, time to saddle up for 500 miles of serious stock car racing, Texas style. 43 of NASCAR's most courageous cowboys set to get it on. As they come out of turn 4, we are set to turn them loose here in Texas. Casey Kane, a half a car length advantage coming on a turn 2. Very important for Jeff Gordon to get those 5 bonus points and lead this first lap, knowing that one of those things on his plate today is done.
He's going to have to fight hard, though. Casey Kane's not giving it up easily.
We saw in the Nationwide Series race yesterday that outside lane worked very well on these restarts, but I think Jeff Gordon's able to lead that first lap and get those points.
Looks like he did it by 0.03 of a second, but Casey Kane has a little advantage getting into 1. Now here comes Gordon and Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch has never won here at Texas. Remember, he won on this sister track at Atlanta in dominant fashion back in the spring. Now he will slide on the inside of the 9 car to take the second spot away.
Greg Biffle was really close to getting into the wall coming out of turn 4 right there.
A couple of Roush Fenway drivers. You see Biffle, the DJ was talking about, on the inside. Carl Edwards there, who won both races here a year ago.
Trouble off of 2.
And it's Jimmie Johnson sideways. And
inside.
Trouble for Jimmie Johnson as he slams the inside wall.
Oh, man, he's got a lot of damage to that race car.
Yeah, there were 3 wide.
Johnson, who dodged so many bullets last week at Talladega in the final laps.
Right front suspension, right rear suspension.
You hear Chad Knaus on the radio getting the crew ready to make repairs to this car.
We told you this track was a nemesis of his a year ago.
He's on his way, he's on the apron, coming your way.
But he lost almost half his point lead, and now they're going to have to hustle
garage,
here
Jimmy,
with this
straight
car.
to the garage.
Well, look how heavily damaged that car is, both sides and the rear.
That's going to take a lot of work. They're going to have to replace a lot of parts.
Move here and take our time, get this thing fixed up.
Let's show you what happened here. Lap 3, watch Jimmie Johnson. Watch him 3 wide on the outside of the 77.
In fact, Ruderman got into the back of Sam Hornish in the 77. That shoved him up into Jimmie.
It looked like Jimmie might almost have it saved, but he got back into Hornish there and then goes down and collects the inside wall. You see Sam Hornish getting against the wall on the outside.
Now right along with Jimmie Johnson, and watch the little tap here.
Inside. Straighten her out, baby. You get it inside. Caution's out.
Well, Jimmie did a great job trying to save the car.
Let's get ready.
Like you said, Dale, he almost had it saved.
Almost did, but right now, here's that window of opportunity for these guys behind him in the points to take advantage today.
All right, guys, we're going to need to get right.
Now from Joey Logano behind the 48 car.
Watch 77. Stay low. Caution's out.
Really hard to tell there if the 00 of David Ruderman got into the 77 or if he just got him arrow loose. Either way, Hornish had to chase it up the track, and that forced Johnson into a slide.
Now, what about Chad Knaus? You think you're 3 races away from making history, and he's watching this happen, and can he believe what's happening to his car here on lap 3?
Well, I know that feeling, man. That could not feel good, but they've got to now just start focusing on what they can do to minimize the points they're going to lose today, and that's just get this car fixed.
We told you it was 184 coming in. He lost 77 in this race a year ago. And folks, a major blow. Take a look now. Jeff Gordon just 31 points back, and Mark Martin 84 back as they sit right now on the racetrack, and Jimmie Johnson in the garage area. Major story here at Texas Motor Speedway. The points leader, Jimmie Johnson, in a major crunch in the garage. Breaking news here at Texas Motor Speedway. The points leader and reigning champion, Jimmie Johnson's car, heavily damaged on lap 3 in the garage here. And Andy, they've got all these pieces and parts they're trying to assemble to rebuild this car.
Yeah, the process is Chad's going to go around and look at the car, see what needs to be changed, and start telling the individuals what they need to do. They're going to change this rear end housing, it looks like. They got to change some left front suspension, right front suspension. The body parts have to be fixed, and you have to be methodical about this. You can't just go in there haphazardly. You need to fix the car, fix it right, where they can go out there and make good laps when they go on the racetrack.
You've been where Chad Canals is right now. You've been in there with cars you've had to fix for Dale Earnhardt Sr. over the years. What is the best case scenario, looking at the damage on this car, as far as getting him back and getting him anywhere close to being competitive?
They can get the car back competitive. They can spend some time here. They can spend, 50, 60 laps getting this car fixed, maybe a little bit more. But the main thing is to make sure that it's fast when it goes back out there, so they don't get black flags, so nothing flies off the car when they go back out, and then try to just make as much out of it as they can.
DJ, let's show the folks at home just may have joined our coverage what happened here at Texas on lap 3 over in the turn.
Yeah, you can see Jimmie get a nice run on the outside, but David Rudman just gets into the left rear corner of Sam Hornish. That sends him up the racetrack into Jimmie Johnson. Looked like he might save it right here, but he's needing a lot of the track back into Sam Hornish again, then down into the inside wall. A lot of damage to this car.
See Mark Martin just in front of this crash. It's not a situation that this 48 team finds himself in very often.
DJ, what's Jimmie Johnson thinking about right now? I mean, as far as the driver sitting in the car, you've lived this where you've had to hold on to win a championship. What's he thinking?
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. This wasn't how he planned his day. They came here to win this race, and on lap 3, you're sitting there out of it. You know the majority of your points lead's going to be gone for the day, and these last 2 races you're looking at are going to be game on again. It's going to be a battle.
One of the drivers that will benefit by this guy being in the garage area is Mark Martin. Now, his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, standing by with Dave Burke.
Doc, he is closest to them in points. Alan, what's your reaction to seeing the leader go into the wall?
Well, nobody wants to see that happen. That happened to us last week at Talladega, and it's a terrible feeling. I know how I felt after that happened. So I hate it for those guys. They work hard, and it's tough to get taken out at the beginning of a race like that. But we just got to focus on what we can do. And all these guys on the CarQuest Kellogg Chevy work really hard, and we got to get the best finish we can. And where the chips fall, they fall.
And when talking to Alan this morning, a win was what they were looking for. That would be even bigger now, Vince.
Crew members from both Jeff Gordon's team and Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s team helping work on this Jimmie Johnson car. A new rear end, a new front end, and they're investigating, but a whole new right front suspension, left front suspension, and a whole new rear end housing and front end. Back up top as we go green.
Thank you. And now the points margin for Jeff Gordon, who is our leader. Gordon now second in the point standings, just 31 points back of Jimmie Johnson, who sits in the garage area. Now, what does this mean for Jeff Gordon? He knows that now he is back in this chase if he hangs on. I mean, does he do anything differently?
No, I think he had planned to do everything he can. Go ahead and try to lead this race, sit on the pole. He's already done that, lead the most laps. He's not going to change his game plan at all. I think it does give him a little more optimism about how this chase can turn out for him. But they're still just game on, just to try to get everything they can.
Yeah, it's a long 500 miles here, but you have to do your job. If you don't take advantage of this situation, then that's your fault. The opportunity is there, but you still have to do your job and do it right all day.
Tony Stewart, the 14 car, down on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to go by the 9 car. That would be for 5th position.
See Casey Kane trying to work this high line. It's going to take these guys a little bit of time. There wasn't a lot of action up in that second groove yesterday to get some rubber down. These guys really want that to come in so they can utilize that this afternoon.
Biffle down on the inside, almost contact between the 16 and the 9 car, as both Biffle and Edwards now trying to make a move inside to get that 9 car of Kane.
Well, it's an extremely fast racetrack. The last lap was 185 miles an hour by Jeff Gordon. You can see just how fast they go here.
I heard these guys talk about it's a controlled slide, though. They really have to work hard here at this track. It's bumpy. It doesn't have a lot of grip. It really makes for a long day. An exciting day if you have a pretty good car.
One driver who has been very impressive throughout the chase is the 42 car. There he is, Juan Pablo Montoya. He was very good in practice here yesterday. How about up front, the 2 car? We told you he's never won at Texas, but right now he wants to lead his first lap today. Kurt Busch, brand new race car that they built here to bring to Texas Motor Speedway. 3rd new car in this series for Penske Racing, and now he is leading. There comes Juan Pablo. We're talking about him making a move.
Yeah, he passed Mark Martin on the outside in 1 and 2, so that top groove is starting to come in a little bit. Shannon?
That 42 car looking fast right now on the racetrack. Spoke with Brian Patty, crew chief, this morning. He said that they didn't have a lot of speed, so it's a little bit surprising. This is actually their Indianapolis for a crew chief, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that means you're not having to face a lot of unpredictable things that happen during the week. Everything's going like you thought it was going to go, and looks pretty good so far for Juan Pablo.
She mentioned Indianapolis car, the car that dominated Indianapolis for the Brickyard 400, only to have that problem on pit road. Also, his best finish of the year came in this car second at Pocono. As you watch the battle on the right side of your screen between Montoya and Mark Martin for 12th position, the left side of the story today. The clock is ticking on our points leader, Jimmie Johnson. Heavy damage in an accident off of turn 2 on lap 3, and they are trying to get his Chevy repaired.
Hey, see, there's different crews working on different areas. You got a group of guys working on the rear suspension, getting it all changed. You see the guys up here on this right front suspension, and this is where the hard part is. A lot of these mounts could be bent where you can't really get the A-frames and the control arms off and back on and where they go. You may have to do some fabrication work with a welder and a torch here to make all this work.
It's important to note, folks, that he cannot lose the points lead today, but he can lose the vast majority of it. 184 points with his lead coming in, and the most you can lose in one race is 161, which would put him ahead by a mere 23 headed to Phoenix. Right now it is Kurt Busch being shown as our leader. He is the second driver to lead today. Jeff Gordon led the first 11 laps. Kyle Busch back in third, trying to make it 3 in a row at the same track. Dale Earnhardt Jr. fourth, and Tony Stewart is fifth.
I'd imagine the 48 will get back out there, but he is tore up extensively.
Maybe that teach all the media a little lesson. Go back and read their articles they wrote this morning and have to redo them.
Definitely will be a points race again now.
That's what this team is hoping, and others that have been chasing Jimmie Johnson, who has been essentially bulletproof. And it's just amazing, DJ, that a driver like the 48 could dodge all those major bullets at Talladega a week ago and be caught here at one of his better racetracks in the third lap of the race.
Yeah. Keep telling everybody all these weeks that they get ready to give it to Jimmie Johnson. It sure looked like, and of course, if everything goes his way, yeah, he was going to go win the championship. But that's why we keep running these races. And as a driver in your team, you think about all those scenarios that could possibly happen. That's why you never heard Jimmy and Chad say, yeah, we've got this wrapped up. We've got a lot of racing to do.
Yeah, and here's a guy that really doesn't even care about the championship, and that's Kyle Busch. He's chasing down Jeff Gordon, trying to make history, trying to get 3 races in one weekend. Got a good car early.
Kyle Busch has never won here in a Cup car. We mentioned he's now won 4 in a row in a Nationwide car, won yesterday, and also won Friday night in the Camping World Truck, and he will take that spot away, second position from Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, looking good right now. Is able to take that high side, get back to the throttle good. You see right behind them, right behind Jeff Gordon, is Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming up.
So it is the brothers Busch running 1-2 at Texas Motor Speedway. Kurt Busch, the older brother, is our leader. And Kyle Busch now being shown about 2.5 seconds back in second position. The big story here early on at Texas Motor Speedway is the 3-time and defending champion and current points leader Jimmie Johnson's Chevy, heavily damaged in the garage area, being repaired. Want a chance to win $10,000? Put your NASCAR knowledge to the test with the ESPN Pick 12 Challenge. Go to ESPN.com/Pick12 and guess the order the 12 chase drivers will finish next week in Phoenix. Now, we'll announce who picked this week's order in the first 30 laps of the Phoenix race, so make sure you watch. Now, this week's winner who picked the correct order from Talladega is Scott S. from Rocky Face, Georgia. So the economy in Rocky Face just got a $10,000 boost there by Scott winning our Pick 12 Challenge. Work ongoing in the garage area. Jimmie Johnson's car, at least a dozen guys working from different teams trying to get the whole car back together. And Andy, they're just rebuilding this car here in the garage.
Yeah, first thing you got to do is get all the bent parts off the race car, get everything that's mangled off, and start building it back. It's been a pretty difficult process so far trying to get the front end off this car.
Kurt Busch is our leader right now in the 2 car, one of the chase contenders. Right now we have 2 chasers in the top 3. Kurt Busch is first and Jeff Gordon is third. And here are the point standings. Jimmie Johnson's lead that was 184 points now just down to 56 over Jeff Gordon and 84 over Mark Martin. There are 2 cars that have gone to the garage area. That's Mike Skinner and Joe Nemechek. And by cars falling out of this race, if Jimmie can get back in and get some laps, that will help him not lose as many points.
Yeah, that's the idea. They want to get out there and try to run as many laps as possible and then hope some other cars fall out of the race that they're able to pass.
Let's update the 24 car. Dave.
And this car right now just a little bit loose, and that's a good indication for crew chief Steve Letarte. Yesterday in practice, their car was a little bit tight. They believed that the overcast conditions today would help this car gain grip in the front end, and that appears to be the case. So at this point, he's lost 2 spots from the pole, but right now, if he can get that loose under control, Jeff's pretty happy with the car.
About being comfortable in the race car here, and Jeff Gordon has had the worst of worst luck at this racetrack. This is the only track where he has finished 43rd in his career, and it's happened twice. Obviously, he won the race here in the spring by leading the most laps.
You see Montoya power sliding his car off turn 2.
Yeah, you can see Mark Martin there, who has gone back around Montoya and actually pulled away from him. He's got his car hooked up now on the bottom of the racetrack and moving forward. Dave?
And DJ, he had dropped to as low as 13th after starting 7th, so the car was going backwards because it was pretty loose, according to Mark. About lap 24, he started going forward again and is now working on the cars that got by him early on.
And Dave, they told me down in the Mark Martin garage this morning that this is, if they could get close today, they feel like they got a great shot. The car they're taking to Phoenix next week has won twice, including the dominant win in the spring at Phoenix. And the car they're going to Homestead with is a car they won with at Darlington and dominated at Chicago. So if they can get closer today, and they may just because Jimmie's in the garage area, this is going to be one heck of a chase.
Yeah, it's nothing like a little extra motivation there with Mark Martin now knowing that he does have a chance with Jimmie Johnson in the garage area working on his car.
Yeah, and like Mark Martin said in the pre-race day, he drives it hard every lap, every race. So, you know, he's just going to do the same things that he always does. Here we see a battle with David Reagan in a little different colors for the UPS group today. And Casey Kane there in the Budweiser number 9.
They are battling for 13th position, Dodge and Ford. David Reagan, by the way, ran that new Ford engine last week at Talladega, and it got rave reviews. They don't have it here this weekend. I guess we may see it again at Homestead. But that car ran very, very well. And, of course, Casey Kane trying to be able to move up in the standings in the chase as well. Jamie.
Well, Casey Kane is somebody that you always look at to win a race on a mile-and-a-half track. But when it comes to Texas, they say this is their nemesis. I talked to his crew chief, Kenny Francis, and he said, we don't know what we're going to have in this race. He said yesterday in practice, 37th on the board. He said, we're just going to go out there and have to adjust on it. Shannon?
Amy, David Reagan right behind him right now is saying just a little bit loose in and a little bit tight off. But this is a great racetrack for the number 6 car. He's been here several times, made a truck start here. He also raced Legends cars here. He says he's very familiar with the track, and that really helps a lot. He had an 11th place finish last season, and this team really needs to get a good finish before the end of the year.
Well, they're looking to do that. And David Reagan, when you have a loose race car on this racetrack, the entry to these corners are very difficult, and especially down into 1, you have a lot of bumps right on the bottom of the racetrack, so you can't arc the car in whenever you're loose. You have to drive it straighter in. That'll put you across those bumps, and that can create a tight situation as you go to exit the corner.
Behind him, the 47 car, and they had a nice announcement this week that the McKee Foods people will come back full-time as a sponsor for Marcos Ambrose next year, and I think he's been one of the pleasant surprises this season.
It really has. Surprised me just how well he's run at all of the oval tracks, intermediates, even short tracks he's run well. And now here you see making the pass on David Reagan. We all expected him to run well on road courses, and he's done just that, but what a real surprise he has been really all year.
Yeah, and pleasant out of the race car too, so a joy to be around and talk with, and just does a terrific job. That's a good situation for that team and for Michael Waltrip Racing, for Brad Daugherty and the guys that own that too, so a really good situation for everybody.
Here's Robbie Gordon. Now he's moved up 13 position since the start of the race, and he's a driver that is really looking forward to 2010. I guess this time of year, DJ, if you're a driver, you're trying to start to get things organized and get a direction for what's going to happen in February of next year.
Yeah, especially if you're the owner and the driver of it in a situation like Robbie Gordon. So that's what he's trying to do, is get all of his ducks in a row, get ready for next year, probably doing some things to test. They've made some changes over there, and this team really seems to be performing a lot better over the last 5 or 6 weeks.
Up front, it is Kurt Busch, the leader. Kyle Busch is second, and Kurt's now pulled away to almost 4 seconds. But the story is what's happening on the left side of your screen. That is the 3-time champion and points leader Jimmie Johnson back in the garage. Vince.
Well, now they're starting to weld the front end. They are making progress, Doc. They had to put in a new drive shaft, cut out the whole front end, put a new water system in, the rear end housing as well. So major undertaking, and as you mentioned earlier, almost rebuilding the entire car. But it has been a team effort, not just those from the 48 crew, but from the 24 and the 88 have come over to assist as well. They are definitely trying to get this thing put together enough to be able to get back out and run laps at a competitive speed. That's something we got to keep in mind, and they've reminded the crew of that. Not just get out, but also get out and run laps at a competitive speed so that they will not be black flagged.
I think it's really interesting, those other teammates that are over there, and I'm pretty sure that's Jason Burdett, who's the car chief for Jeff Gordon, over there helping a team that they're battling for the championship. But that's just what kind of organization this is.
It's the Hendrick Motorsports team. We showed you, we talk about super teams and dynasties. They've won 12 times this year, including 7 1-2 finish. Back to Texas after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Great matchup on ESPN's Monday Night Football as the Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Denver Broncos, a couple of the top AFC teams. Steelers-Broncos, ESPN's Monday Night Football at 8:30 Eastern. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's at 7 Eastern. Fort Worth, Texas in the very early stages of the Dickies 500. The process of rebuilding the championship leader's car continues back in the garage area. Just joining us, the third lap of the race. Trouble in turn number 2 for Jimmie Johnson.
Off of turn 2, take a look at this. See, David Rudum just taps the number 77 car, turns him sideways up into Jimmie Johnson. Jimmie spins, comes across the track, gets hit again by Sam Hornish, and now he's got a big mess. The front of this car is destroyed, the back's destroyed. They're working like crazy, trying to get it back on the racetrack to save some points.
The old Texas rattlesnake, Rusty. That's what we call turn 2. Reached up and bit him. They're working really hard on this racetrack, but I tell you what, Kurt Busch is picking them up and laying them down right now, trying to win that $1 million for his partner.
Kurt Busch out in front by some 3.7 seconds over his brother Kyle Busch, about 10 laps away from a pit stop. Jeff Gordon came into this race in the championship third in the standings, 192 points behind Jimmie Johnson. As a result of what's happening on the racetrack right now, Gordon is 61 points behind Jimmie Johnson. Jeff is running on the racetrack. He's kind of fading back a little bit late in the run. He's running 4th right now, while again Johnson showing 43rd in the garage area.
Rusty, how much pressure now is on Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin? We think the pressure's on Jimmie Johnson, but realistically, it's got to be on those two to finish well.
Well, Brad, I don't know if they really feel like they got pressure. I think they feel like they've got a chance right now. With Johnson out for the time being, they're gaining points just like you said. The whole field thinks that this championship is back open again, and you know what? It is.
Except they've still got to negotiate that tricky turn 2.
The rattlesnake, baby.
Another 287 times today, Doc, DJ, and Andy. It's a long way from knowing how the story of this day is going to play out completely.
Exactly, Alan. A very treacherous racetrack. Lots of grooves and lots of room to get in trouble here at Texas.
Well, just so many things. I mean, from just negotiating the racetrack, 500 miles here, very hard on the engines and other drivetrain components. So a lot of things that can go wrong, but you just have to go do your job. That opportunity is here. So if you don't have your tickets for Phoenix and Homestead, I'd go get them, because this is going to be a battle to the end.
And remember, Jimmie Johnson has never won a race at Homestead. In fact, he lost 71 points last year at Homestead, just trying to hang on to win the championship.
Yeah, I talked to Jimmy about that, and one of the reasons that they never won at Homestead, they've never had to. They might have to this year.
They might have to win the next 2 to be able to hang on and win that championship. Kurt Busch, our leader. Kyle Busch is 2nd. David Rudem now has moved up to 3rd. Stuart Gordon, and how about Dale Earnhardt Jr. being shown in 6th position?
Yeah, he and Jeff Gordon were sitting up there running 2nd and 3rd for a while, and then, or I think Junior only got up to 4th, but they were running 3rd and 4th there. Now they've fallen back just a little bit, losing a little bit of the handle, but a good day going for both of those cars. See Biffle here, still struggling a little bit. We've seen him move around on the racetrack, trying to find what's going to be the best groove for his car, but it's not exactly suiting him right now.
These guys mixing it up back in the back of the pack, and now it is there's the 2 car of Kurt Busch. We talked about a brand new car. See that paint scheme? He talked about it in our NASCAR Countdown show. Operation Homefront. His sponsor has donated $200,000 to help military families in need. And if he finishes in the top 10 today, they're going to add $10,000 more for that great cause. Let's go down to Jamie.
Well, the car looks good and it's driving well, but the driver Kurt Busch is thinking big picture. There are a lot more laps to turn, and he mentioned those thoughts with his team.
Just a little loose everywhere. I'm just afraid we're going to be too good here in the daytime. Not good enough at night. I don't know what's up.
Basically, he's anticipating as the track changes, they need to change with it. So on this first round of pit stops, we're going to watch for an air pressure adjustment, guys.
Pit stop should be coming up very quickly. Here's the 19 car of Elliott Sadler in for the first stop of the day.
Yeah, Elliott already lost a lap, so he's struggling quite a bit today. Need to get in and get some tires and make some adjustments.
Elliott back in a Dodge this week after running the Ford last week and getting a top 10 finish at Talladega. Here's Reed Sorensen in his Dodge. Bobby Labonte also coming in the 71 car, the Kevin Buckler owned car. So starting to open pit road a little bit for some of these guys. A double zero in the pit road. One of the guys running in the top 5, Rudeman.
So watch him. Dale Jr.'s hit pit road also. Marcus Ambrose. Shannon?
Dale Jr. saying that 88 car is getting tighter and tighter. They're not going to make any changes under this green flag pit stop, though. They're just going to change the 4 tires and fuel. Jamie.
And Casey Kane's just been complaining that he's loose. They're going to take air pressure out of the right rear 4 tires and fill it up with Sunoco fuel. They run around to the left side. Car has been okay. Like I said, they didn't know what they were going to have here, so they're taking a swing at it here with air pressure, hoping that helps. Dave?
Jamie, Clinton Boyer was running in 8th position before these green flag pit stops started. In traffic, or he was loose in, tight in the middle, and loose off. Crew Chief Shane Wilson saying, I think we need to make one run where we make no changes. So they will change all 4 tires, fill it full of Sunoco fuel, but try not to change anything. See how the car reacts to that. Jamie?
And Greg Biffle says he has no grip at the back of the car. Going to take a big swing at it here. Track bar up, rubber out of the right rear. They made an air pressure adjustment. Good stop. He's down. Dave?
Jeff Gordon coming to pit road now. He had fallen back to the 5th position from his pole position as well. Bill Elliott's on pit road. He will go around him and get into his pit stall right now. Crew Chief Steve Letarte saying we need to take a big swing at it now to know how it will react. That is a track bar adjustment happening at the back of the car. They will also make air pressure adjustments for Jeff as well. It was tight in traffic, but mostly loose for Jeff Gordon. Vince?
The 18 of Kyle Busch, remember, working with crew chief Dave Rogers for the first time. The car has been good throughout the course. Kyle hasn't said much. They're taking a half a pound of air out of the right front, 4 tires and fuel. Dave?
Mark Martin didn't like his car at the beginning of that run, liked it better in the middle, and near the end it got just a little bit tight, but he says, I don't want to change it too much. Actually, lap 39 was when he said that car went neutral. So if anything, it'll be a slight air pressure adjustment at this point for Mark. They will change 4 tires as well. We might note that Jeff Gordon's car, a little trouble on the left rear as they were exiting. That may cost him. Let's go back up top to Doc.
Mark Martin coming off of pit road. Here's the 99 car. Here's the 14 car coming down pit road. Tony Stewart coming in, the former winner here. Let's go back down the day.
Tony Stewart's car actually improved over that run as well. His final complaint, if you will, and it wasn't much of one, was that the car is just a little bit tight in the center of the corner. That'll be a wedge adjustment to the left rear. They will change 4 tires and put it full of fuel as well for him. Tony, over the course of the run, thought the car was a little bit bad off the corner, but that really got better.
And Kurt Busch has been the leader of the majority of this race. He says he's very loose. They're going to take 1 pound out of the right rear. 4 tires, work around on the left side, fill it up with fuel. This car has been a rocket. This brand new race car is paying off, Doc.
13.8, so under 14 seconds for the 2 guys. There's a 0.7 of Casey Mears coming off that 2nd place run yesterday. Vince?
Casey Mears, as you said, Doc, coming off that strong finish yesterday in the Nationwide Series, giving him some confidence today, working with crew chief Doug Randolph. It's his first time as crew chief as well. 4 tire change for the 07 of Casey Mears.
A lot of time on the right side on that 0.7 car, Andy.
Yeah, definitely stumbled there. It's 8.9 seconds on the right side, and looking for something under 6 seconds. Comes Michael Waltrip now. He was the leader after that round of stops.
It's been interesting to hear some of these crew chiefs. Shane Wilson with the 33 saying, let's give it a chance. We're not going to make any changes. Steve Letarte says, let's make a big swing at it. Vince?
Yeah, Michael Waltrip, they're making a 4 tire change on his machine as well. The Napa Toyota coming off that 7th place finish last week at Talladega, which matched his best showing of the season. Off and away, 4 tires in Sunoco fuel for Michael Waltrip.
Michael leaving pit road and now back on the track after everyone has cycled through, folks. The 18 car is the leader. When they came on the pit road, Kurt Busch had about a 2.5 second lead over Kyle, but now because of the pit stops, whoa, the 77 car nearly sideways. He gathered it back up. Race saved by Sam Hornish right in front of the leader.
Yeah, Kyle Busch made up a lot of time right there. There was about 4 seconds between him and Kurt Busch before this round of stops. Didn't see that big a difference in the pit stops. Must have made it up on getting on pit road and getting off.
We saw him do that yesterday, Kyle Busch, as he went in the pits with about a 5-second lead, came out and he had over a 10-second lead. Look at Sam Hornish right here.
Wow. Right in front of last week's winner, McMurray, and the leader coming behind McMurray, Kyle Busch. And there's the interval between the 18 car, Kyle, and the 2 of Kurt Busch. About 0.8 of a second.
That's just a great job by Kyle Busch getting on and off of pit road.
Yeah, I talked to Gil Martin, and he kind of said a little bit about it in our in-race reporter question, that they really practice getting on and off of pit road, not just necessarily between the timing lines, but actually pulling off the end of pit road, getting up to speed, and then getting down to pit road speed on the entrance.
Kyle trying to win all 3 in the same weekend here at Texas. Back with more of the Dickies 500 in a moment. 65 laps now of 334 in the books at Texas Motor Speedway. And a couple of big stories. Kyle Busch trying to become the first driver in NASCAR history to win all 3 events at the same track in the same weekend. He won a truck race Friday, the nationwide race last night, and now leading here by about 2.3 seconds over his brother Kurt Busch. The other big story is our defending champion and points leader Jimmie Johnson still in the garage area trying to get his car basically rebuilt from an accident on lap number 3.
See, making a lot of progress. They've got an entire front end on the car now as far as the sheet metal hood, front bumpers. You can see them welding on brackets. They're starting to really get this car where they can get it down on the ground and get it kind of squared back up to get back out on the track.
The point margin right now is 76 points between Johnson in the garage and the 5 car of Mark Martin, who's being shown in 8th position on the track.
As you watch Kyle Busch here, he's really doing a great job staying right around the bottom of the racetrack. You see slide his car really through the center of the corners a lot. But just driving the wheels off of it right now.
Still can't get over how much time he made up making that green flag stop, because his pit stop was not much different than Kurt Busch's, and he made that time up getting off the racetrack and back up to speed.
Hey, Andy, we're just watching some lap times down here. There was 2 laps difference between when Kurt Busch pitted and when Kyle Busch pitted. So lap 56 was Kyle Busch's first lap on fresh tires and Kurt's last lap on the track on older tires. And the difference between the 2 lap times was over 1.5 seconds. And just that 1 lap, let alone the slowdown to get to pit road, the speed back up, just in that, check out the difference. That's Kurt Busch's last lap on his old tires because he waited to pit, and that's Kyle Busch's first lap on his fresh tires, and that's how Kyle Busch is now your leader.
Yeah, that makes up a lot of time. It doesn't count for all of it, though, Alan. He did a good job getting on pit road. He did definitely get some time on those new tires on him, but he's 6 seconds ahead of where he was compared to Kurt Busch earlier.
Yeah, and when we went to commercial just a minute ago, he was just about 0.7 of a second ahead of his brother Kurt Busch, and now he's stretched out over 2 seconds. So he's really doing a good job on the racetrack too. Yeah, all around. You say you have to do everything to win these races, and he's doing it right now.
We talk about how the fall off here in tires, and that's the tires that get worn and begin to slow down, is significant at this racetrack, maybe more significant than any other 1.5-mile track we go to.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of grip. You've got a lot of bumps. Traffic can create a lot of problems for you. When you get your car right, like Kyle Busch has right now, really see him negotiating the lap traffic really well. That's not really slowing him down that much.
There's the 24 car, Jeff Gordon, who was our pole sitter and early leader. And now he's being shown back in 11th position. Dave, what went on during that pit stop for Jeff Gordon?
Yeah, Doc, because when he pitted, he was running in the 5th position. If we get a look at the replay, you can see that the car comes in just fine, and the right side really isn't that bad. They go to work as they normally would, but as they come around to the left side and they've got to continue the stop and complete it. Tim Laddick, the rear tire changer, has some issues, had a couple issues there actually. Now he comes around to the other side, and it appears that there are some issues as well, maybe a dropped lug nut at this point. And I think it might have been on the right side now that I'm getting a final look at it. So it was the right side that slowed him down, kept his progress down, and they fell back into the mid-teens. And as you mentioned, Jeff, now back up to 11th, but fighting back through traffic.
Jeff trying to get back up in the top 10. We also want to update the fact that Casey Mears stopped where they had trouble on the right side. The delay for the 07 car was they put a rubber in the right rear to help the change of handling. That's why they had that 8-second stop on the right.
Yeah, I hate doing those under green, but sometimes you have to when the car's not handling right. You just got to take the time, put that rubber in there, and try to change your whole handling package, and lose less time doing that than you would if you just waited.
Yeah, look who's moved up into the top 10 here and challenging to move into the top 5. That's Marcus Ambrose having a great run as he moves in on Tony Stewart's bumper.
You know, Marcus was so good early in the year, in the middle of the year, and they've come on some tough times here. He's had 4 consecutive finishes of 22nd or worse. Had the horrible incident involved in an incident at Talladega last week, but really making up for it here on this mile and a half at Texas.
Well, what we're seeing is that it looks like that the Michael Waltrip Racing organization has something going pretty good. We've got Rudiman up in the 3rd spot, running extremely well. Marcus Ambrose trying to put both of those cars up in the top 5 now.
I think they would have told Michael a little bit of that setup. He's back in 34th right now, struggling.
And as you mentioned, DJ, Toyota has never won a NASCAR Sprint Cup race here at Texas.
Well, they're looking like today that might go to change. We won't be talking about that stat when they come back here in next April.
The 21 car, that's Bill Elliott, Dawsonville from Dawsonville, had to start in the back of the pack because of a transmission change. He's now being shown 1 lap down in the 32nd position as Marcus Ambrose goes by. Marcus in 6th spot, and the guy they're chasing right now is Kyle Busch, who dominated the nationwide race here yesterday and has now led 18 laps here today. Here are the current standings for the AT&T fastest pit crew of the year. Points are accumulated by the team who wins the race, by fan votes, and by an ESPN pick. You see, it's Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, and Jimmie Johnson. That's the top 4. You can make your pick for the AT&T fastest pit crew of the year by texting the car number for the pit crew you think is fastest and most valuable in each race to 2258. Standard messaging rates do apply. There's the 12 car, and that is Brad Keselowski making his debut in the Penske Dodge, and he's trying to stay on the lead lap.
Well, he is. He's trying hard to stay. He'd get a good run off the corner there on the outside. Sitting there in 24th spot, 25th spot.
He will drive that car starting in 2010 full-time, and they decided to put him in the car the final 3 events of this season to sort of get him acclimated to be able to communicate with the Penske team and the crew chief. Whoa, a little slipping and sliding there by the 18 car. Listen into Kyle Busch's radio.
Little free in, little free off. That's my biggest thing. Center's not bad. If you go back the other way, you know, the center wasn't terrible, but I'm definitely turning better. Exit at 2 now. Before I get to the flat, you know, I just got to get some more control.
Yeah, you can hear he's trying to communicate with his new crew chief, Dave Rogers, on what he needs as far as changes are concerned. The car's definitely better this run than it was the first run. I heard some of the same kind of comments from Kurt Busch when he was leading the race earlier. You can see Kurt's running him down a little bit now. It cost him a lot of time messing with Keselowski. They're trying to put him down a lap.
Yeah, you can have a fast race car like that, but when you run up on traffic and somebody that can kind of stay there on your outside, it'll cost you a lot of time. But in the end, the fast car like that will prevail, and that's what Kyle's got. But he's having to just be careful with it right now in traffic.
You mentioned Dave Rogers, and if you just joined our coverage, there is a brand new crew chief. That is Dave Rogers starting this weekend for Kyle Busch. And we talked to David and Roger early in the week. There's Dave right now, and said, how much time have you worked on this car? You've been the NASCAR Nationwide Series crew chief the last few years. He said, Doc, I've been on this car a total of 2 weeks. So I'm here to try to get my feet on the ground and look for some direction for 2010.
Yeah, this car is way different than the Nationwide Series car, which he has been a crew chief on for the last couple of years, and it's going to take a little bit of time to really learn what buttons that you need to push on this car to make it do what you want it to do.
So there's the 14 car of Tony Stewart. Let's get you up to speed on what's going on with the 14 car, starting with Dave.
Talking to Darian Grubb this morning, his crew chief, you know, right now they're only 33 points ahead of 6th in the championship. He goes, we want to stay top 5, but we think we can be the second place finisher today, this year if we can just work on it a bit harder, but we've got to have a win to give ourselves a chance. They're working toward that today. The car right now just a little bit tight in the center. The exit is very good. Clint Boyer had a good car on that first run. They made just a slight air pressure adjustment, and right now the car is loose all around, just slightly tight in the middle for Clint, so they're going to need to adjust on that just a little bit more. Mark Martin's right behind him, and he says, I've got to turn better. That doesn't mean that he wants Alan Gustafson to loosen the car up. He explained that, but he said, I just need the car to turn a little bit better. That's the 5 of Mark Martin.
Trouble on the racetrack, and it's Sam Hornish who's been struggling with an ill-handling car, a damaged race car, and now it's damaged even more, and the tires are flat. And that will bring out caution for the second time today.
Definitely been a struggle for Sam today.
He was involved in the 3-car shot on lap 3 involving the 00 of David Rudum and the 48 of Jimmie Johnson. Now he has damage on the left side and at least 3 flat tires.
Go to the garage, guys. Go ahead, go to the garage.
Brad Keselowski will be the free pass winner this time.
Yeah, and there's a lot of these guys that were glad to see this right now. They can get in here under caution and work on these cars some. Saw a lot of cars that looked like they weren't driving very good, so it'll help them tremendously.
So we can show you what happened to Sam, who had been just trying to hang on to that Dodge, nearly spinning out a couple of times, and this time he just couldn't quite get it back in.
See, he was up on the top side of the racetrack. It's pretty bumpy up there, and if you have a loose race car already, that can make it hard to hang on to.
And damaged. He's had a couple of run-ins already. Like you see all that tape, and the wing is not really where it should be. You can see it's angled down on the right rear. That can't be helping.
Yeah, Brad's Rattlesnakes jumped out and grabbed somebody else over there. Actually, Sam for the second time today.
And he had such a good run here back in April, guys, after qualifying 12th, and he finished 17th. Ran in the top 15 most of the day, but a struggle here thus far this afternoon. Caution for the second time, and these guys are perched and poised to be able to service the cars. The Busch brothers, Kyle and Kurt, running first and second. Rudum and Earnhardt Jr. and Ambrose the top 5.
So this will be an opportunity to get a lot of cars adjusted that were ill handling.
Leaders last pitted on lap 55, so it's lap 87, 32 laps ago. And they are right together, the Busch brothers, slowing down at 45 miles an hour and leading the lead lap cars on pit road. Down to the 24 pit, Vince.
Well, the 18 of Kyle Busch had been a little bit too snug that first run. They made some air pressure adjustments, and then it freed it up almost too much. So they're going to take those air pressure adjustments out and make a track bar adjustment as well. Shannon.
Dale Jr. says the 88 is loose at the start of the run, tight at the end. They're going to make a wedge adjustment and 4 tires. Jamie.
And Kurt Busch continues to be loose. Now they're going to do a wedge adjustment this time, put the air back in the right rear that they took out last time, air in the right front, and 4 tires, and fill it up, Dave.
Tony Stewart gives up 6 positions, said it got tight there at the end of the run. A track bar adjustment has been made to that car. Jeff Gordon swinging in, trying to recover from the bad pit stop last time. The car is loose, half back on the track bar adjustment they made last time. Remember, it was a big swing, too big. They're coming back on it.
Race off of pit road there as you see the 18 car coming off. So and he changed 4 tires, will be the first car off of pit road. Look at the big gainers there. Denny Hamlin, Earnhardt Jr. down 3 spots. Gordon up a couple. Montoya up a couple positions. So Jimmie Johnson's work in the garage almost complete. We'll update the points leader when we come back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
The Dickies 500 about to go back under the green flag with what will be 243 laps to go. Still very early on. We're wrapping up the second caution after Sam Hornish spun off of turn number 2. Kyle Busch, the leader, has chosen the outside lane for the restart. Meanwhile, Jimmie Johnson in the garage since a crash at lap number 3, about to return to the speedway. They're beginning to make the final parts of their repairs and button Jimmie back up inside the car. And we should see the 48 car. You see the window net up there. We should see the 48 back out onto the speedway sometime in the next short while and see how many points he can make up over where he sits now between now and the end of the race. Check on the championship standings as Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon run in this race in 16th and 9th positions respectively. Johnson is 43rd And we check the standings at the top while they come to the green flag, and we go upstairs.
Busch brothers side by side. Kyle Busch will get the advantage. Kurt there. There's Tony Stewart in the 14 car. Double file restarts. Remember, they didn't have double file restarts when they ran here back in the spring, so all the lead lap cars getting bunched up side by side. And now Stewart trying to take that second spot away, but Kurt Busch coming back on the inside.
Yeah, Kurt Busch really drove that thing off in there to get that spot away from Tony Stewart. We see Gordon and Montoya now battling.
That's 9th and 10th. Montoya taking that spot away. See Biffle back there in 11th position. Greg Biffle says he thought he had a chance to win this race back in April. They had a problem with a lug nut on pit road, and he came off pit road 11th, drove it back to 3rd. 3 wide here. There's a 0-2 David Gill, and that's a Joe Gibbs 4th car. And last week's winner McMurray almost up into David Reagan.
Yeah, Reagan gives him just a little bit of room.
They're
both cars are
wide again.
Yeah, a little bit loose. Teammates kind of laying on each other through that corner.
You can try to make some time on that high side, but these guys are really having to start these cars out so free because they tend to tighten up on the run. That it makes it difficult up in that high lane. You see Robbie Gordon in the 7 get a little bit loose too.
Pretty good battle here for 16th position. Matt Kenseth and Mark Martin. Kenseth not in the chase. Martin is, and right now Martin being shown 3rd in the points, 106 back, which is a whole heck of a lot closer than he was when the day began.
It's a lot closer, but Mark's not making much headway towards the front. He could really cut into this lead a lot more, have a lot of racing to do, a lot more adjustments that they can make. Hopefully he can find himself in the top 10 before this night's over.
There's the 29 car, our in-race reporter, Kevin Harvick. We told you that he has not won in a NASCAR Sprint Cup car here at Texas. Driving a car that's been pretty good on the short tracks, a car that's had 2 top 15 finishes on short track racing this year, and trying to get this car to run better here on a 1.5-mile racetrack. Well, it's country music's biggest night with performances by Keith Urban, Sugarland, Taylor Swift, George Strait, and many more. Hosted by Carrie Underwood and Brad Paisley. The CMA Awards coming up live Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on ABC. And I can't wait.
Kyle Busch apparently can't wait either. He's in a hurry. He's out front and getting it done for sure.
42 car now has been passed by Jeff Gordon, and they were battling for 9th and 10th position.
Yeah, Jeff's still trying to make up for that green flag pit stop where they lost so much time and lost a lot of positions. He's still trying to play catch up.
Yeah, and Montoya, we heard him report earlier that they still thought they could finish 2nd in this championship. They might have their sights set a little bit higher now that the 48's had some problems.
I think Montoya has been the surprise of the chase thus far with 5 top 5 finishes. He only has 7 total on the year, and 5 of them have come in the 7 chase races.
Such a big difference between last year and this year for this team and Juan Pablo Montoya. They're like 20 spots better in points at this point than they were last year this time.
As you watch this battle, I'll remind you it has now been exactly an hour that the 48 car has been in the garage area being repaired. After a lap 3 accident, Jimmie Johnson, the points leader, in the garage having the car repaired. And very shortly, folks, we're going to tell you what all they had to fix. So get a lot of pencils and paper ready, because we're going to tell you exactly what they had to fix to put this car back together. We talk about how slippery this racetrack is, guys, and Rusty, you know that the track conditions in this racetrack can change very abruptly, and really the drivers can have their hands full.
Well, Doc, you got that exactly right, and the track conditions will change big time. I've been down here in the studio. We're looking outside right now. The sun is completely went away. This racetrack's going to start cooling down, and about the last 1 hour of this race will be running in darkness. So big time changes. We heard Kurt Busch earlier talking about he's concerned about what his car is going to do late in the race. I got to tell you, the rest of the drivers will probably be concerned now, because I think what you're seeing right now, the way these cars are handling, it will change as it goes on throughout the night.
Yeah, I think one thing too, Rusty, is that all the practice sessions were with sunlight on the racetrack. We really haven't had any of that today, and I think that's one thing that's throwing the teams a little bit of a loop.
Yeah, and when you get to that later time that Rusty's talking about, you're going to gain a lot more grip in this racetrack. Speeds are going to escalate, and you're going to start encountering even more of a problem. As we look 3 wide here, we don't see that from Mark Martin too many times, but he's ready to get racy. He needs to go.
Yeah, 13th, 14th, and 15th, and Mark must have heard what you said. You're losing out on a huge opportunity, and Mark's gotten real racy all of a sudden. That is the 44 car, the Richard Petty Motorsports car. That is a Ford this weekend. In fact, A.J. Allmendinger will be in a Ford for the remainder of this year. Of course, Richard Petty Motorsports in a Ford for the entire 2010 season.
Well, it looks like Mark's just let it all hang out right here. So is Allmendinger. See him getting a little bit loose off the corner.
Yeah, A.J.'s having a nice run today. Up there in the 14th spot right now. Ford seems to suit him pretty well.
Now, the reason the 5 car was back in this mess and not in the top 10, back in all this traffic, is he had an issue in the pits. Dave.
And the issue was that Sam Hornish Jr. was working on his car. Then Mark had to come around him and park this way. So in order to get out, where Menard was parked in front of him, or I'm sorry, Robbie Gordon was parked in front of him, he had to back up, so he lost all those positions. In fact, you can see A.J. Allmendinger getting by him right there on pit road. So Mark's people not happy with the 77 for sitting there. That's really what started the chain reaction that led to them having to spend extra time on pit road.
Yeah, that's so frustrating when you have a car that's down laps that's in your way. It's one thing to have a car that you're racing be in your way, but a car that's down laps, it's really frustrating.
But he's going to have a little bit next time. The 77 just went to the garage area to make some repairs on that race car, so that'll probably help Mark out some as he makes his remaining pit stops throughout the day.
31 car, that's a backup car for Jeff Burton, who slammed the wall here in the opening practice session early in the week. And here's Joey Logano in the 20 car, on the inside. And you talk about the difficult season it's been for Jeff Burton, but what a run he is having here in the backup car. Look, he has gained 22 positions. How many times have we said this year? Juan Pablo Montoya is on the move.
Yeah, he has been on the move this year for sure.
I think it's interesting watching him with the new tires. He was down the bottom of the racetrack. Now he's moved back up and really making that high side work also.
You think these guys don't realize that the guy who is leading the points is in the garage area, and this is Opportunity City at Texas. Another guy chasing history, by the way, our leader, Kyle Busch. Now Sprint brings you an inside look at the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup on the Now Network. Our current top 3 in points, folks, it's shuffled big time. Jimmie Johnson's lead down to just 87 points over Jeff Gordon. And you see 91 points. Mark Martin now being shown in 3rd position. And the top speed thus far in the race, wow, 195 miles an hour. That was Kurt Busch, the 2 car. For more NASCAR stats, in-car audio, and live race radio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile at sprint.com/speed.
Man, look at Kurt Busch work the wheel on that thing. Think these guys aren't working, and this is a long 334-lap race.
Yeah, one thing I'm seeing, he's talking on the radio too. Just right after he did that, I saw that radio button get pushed. He's probably telling the crew what they need to work on.
He's more talented than I was then. When I was having
rolling, it just plows.
Yeah, I couldn't concentrate enough to talk. I had to think about not wrecking that thing right at that moment.
Here's
See a battle right here.
Yep, 2nd and 3rd in points, and right now on the racetrack they are 10th and 11th. Martin and Jeff Gordon, as Martin is going forward, and Gordon sort of stuck there right now.
Yeah, Martin is going forward, and actually right now, as the points that Mark would be in the 2nd spot. Looks like he's got his car really driving good after that problem they had on pit road there.
Speaking of running good, how about this 47 right here? He is on the move. Fastest car on the racetrack here for the last few laps.
Marcus making Big Brad proud down there. These guys got it going on. Right on the bottom of the racetrack and digging.
Tell you what, guys, one thing I'm noticing, though, this racetrack is cooling down. Temperatures are coming down, and Marcus's car is actually getting faster. This place is so track temperature sensitive. I think we're going to see a lot of that going on tonight as we get into the night, but right now it's really helping an Ambrose.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of traffic around him. That's the other good thing. He's doing a good job of just maintaining good speeds, and like I say, he's really fast, but he's not really racing anyone yet, even though he's closing in on that number 2 car. Andy, I wanted to ask you a question. As Jimmie Johnson tries to get back to the racetrack, when we come to the racetrack, we go through the inspection process, and sometimes it can be very long as they check the minimums and the maximums. What's the process when he tries to get back on the track? Will it be expedited at all?
Oh, yeah, Brad, what they're going to do, there's an NASCAR official standing there. They're not going to go through a formal technical inspection. They're just going to make sure everything is done correctly, that they're not getting any kind of advantage. You can see right there that they're missing a rear bumper. That's okay. I mean, when they have an accident like this, NASCAR will work with you quite a bit. The main thing here for the team is they have to make this car right the first time out there, because NASCAR only gives you one opportunity to get up to the minimum speed, and if you can't do it, they'll put you back in the garage area.
Gotcha.
And right now, he is being shown 112 laps back in 43rd position. He has lost approximately 100 points due to the crash. And now remember, folks, if he can get back in and run some laps, these guys going to the garage area are going to be able to move back up into points. But look how good that car looks, guys.
Man, they've done an incredible job with this thing. They had all the parts and pieces ready to go, assembled all of that. Even though it's taken a while, they've done it all right. But well, we'll see. This is what a championship team's about.
Okay, but right now we got to wait and see if they've done it exactly like they need to. We don't want to see any tire rubs. We don't want to see something fall off of it. That's and see how fast it'll run. So these first laps are critical.
Well, a rebuilt race car, and it's amazing they got this car back together. Let's go back down to the Craftsman Tech Garage on our Tim Brewer.
You're right, Doc. You have one opportunity to get the car back up to speed. And you go back on that racetrack, you don't meet that minimum speed requirement, they're going to black flag you, so your day's over. But the rear end housing, that's just basically putting the housing and exchanging parts. The housing, the trailing arms, that's no big issue. But where you have a stumbling block, the inner pivot points on these control arms, upper and lower, they have to fit in here in this structure. But if this structure is damaged, they either have to take a pour power and push it back in place, or cut it off and weld it back. But another strategic point is the steering system itself. Down in this area, we have the idler arm and we have the steering box. But if that doesn't work in conjunction with the tie rod ends and the rest of the components, you're not going to meet that minimum speed requirement. But as far as the rear end of the car, when the car crashed, it knocked the rear wing down. So what Chad was doing is actually putting a support from the roll cage up to the deck lid to make sure that that rear wing is up in the air, to make sure that he's got maximum downforce. Guys?
Tim, great explanation. And reason the 48 car is back on pit road is they were having a tire rub there where they put that whole new front section and part of that rear section back on.
Yeah, they need to spend some extra time on that left front because it was rubbing significantly. You'll see right here, going to get in there and make a little more clearance. You got to make sure that thing's not rubbing. When I say NASCAR gives you one opportunity, they're going to give you a reasonable opportunity now to get this car up to speed. They haven't really made a lap at speed.
All right, let's go.
And it's important to note that you can change a lot of things on a car, and Chad Canals knows that the one thing you cannot change is the engine. They had to be very careful. They replaced the water system, and if you have an engine problem, they were to go back out and have something internal in the engine, they'd be done for the day.
Yeah, and that minimum speed we're talking about, what NASCAR will look at is they tell them in the driver's meeting, and that here is 33.27 seconds, which is about a little over a second and a half, second and 3/4 what the guys are running right now on older tires. So he has some room, but as a driver, you want to work up to that and try to get to that by taking your time, because you really just don't know what you have.
There's the leader, Kyle Busch. He just ran a 31.55 lap that time by. Kyle Busch the leader, Kurt Busch, Ambrose, Stewart, and Rudiman in the top 5.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on ABC, brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. UPS. See David Reagan go head-to-head with UPS drivers in Maximum Driver at racing.ups.com. And Triple Hops Brewed Miller Lite. Great taste, less filling.
Here at Texas Motor Speedway, the complexion of the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup has changed drastically. There's the damaged 48 car of Jimmie Johnson involved in a wreck on lap number 3. The day began, he had a 184-point lead over Mark Martin. On lap 3, headed to the garage area, and the margin was 31 points over Jeff Gordon. Currently, Mark Martin is second in the points, just 87 points back of a limping Jimmie Johnson back on the racetrack.
Yeah, you see Gordon there. He's not helping his situation a lot. Even though he's going to be a lot closer in points than what he started the day, he's fallen back quite a bit. He's back to the 14th spot now.
Yeah, I think it's the pressure really is kind of on this team now to get this car running faster, to try to take advantage of this situation.
See behind the 24 car, there's Ryan Newman coming off that tumble at Talladega last week. That violent tumble, his first DNF of the year.
Yeah, he didn't have a great qualifying effort here, but he's made his way up into the top 15 now, so he's headed in the right direction.
Kyle Busch, our leader, Kurt Busch in second, but look who's easing in on Kurt Busch. That 47 car continuing to move toward the front, Marcos Ambrose.
Yeah, he is. He's moving in on this 2 car. Got a great race going so far.
It seems like every time he gets to Kirk's back bumper, though, he can't seem to make that pass. He's moved up on the racetrack now. I think part of that might be to save his tires. He might have felt like he was abusing them a little too much. If you run on the bottom all the time there, if you have a little too much wheel in it, you can get the car to pushing a little bit. Shannon, what are they saying in this pit?
Well, this car did not start off great today. It was really pushing. They made an air pressure adjustment on that last pit stop right around lap 88, and it has come alive. Marcos Ambrose very excited on the radio. He knows he has a fast race car. My question to you guys is the team must have been bluffing this morning, because when I spoke with them, they said, you know, we don't have much speed, but the car is consistent. How important is that consistency here at Texas?
Well, the speed part's going to go away in a hurry because the tires don't last very long. So if you can just hang on for a few laps, everybody else is going to come back to you. And then as they start to fall off more, you've got a good package. That's going to be much more advantageous to you. And that seems like what these guys have. As they get some laps on the tires, that's when their car is the best.
Marcus has 4 top 5 finishes thus far this year. A second at Watkins Glen, third at Infineon on the road course, third at Bristol, and fourth at Talladega. This could by far be his best run on a 1.5-mile racetrack.
Yeah, one thing you need when you have a car like that, you need long green flag runs. You don't want a whole lot of cautions, a lot of, restarts, these double file restarts, and a lot of things can happen. You want things to settle out where you can take advantage of that kind of setup.
Seeing these drivers just really wheel these cars. They're doing a great job. As you mentioned earlier, and it's a fast racetrack. You just have to slide this car around here. These guys are doing a terrific job. We're seeing some really good racing going on here. Just whenever they get right to them, because they are so close, it makes it difficult to make that pass, especially when you're right up front trying to take over the second spot like Marcos is right now.
Talk about the speed here. Jeff Gordon qualified at over 191 miles per hour, which makes this the second fastest track thus far that the Cup cars have run on this year. They qualified at 192 and change at Lowe's Motor Speedway back last month.
And there's last week's winner getting ready to possibly go 2 laps down to Kyle Busch.
We just joined our coverage. Kyle Busch is chasing a little bit of history of his own. No, he's not in the chase, folks, but if he wins a race today, he will do something that's never been done in the 61-year history of NASCAR. He won the NASCAR Camping World Truck Race on Friday night, the nationwide race last night, and if he would win the race today, he would become the first driver to pull off the triple at the same track at the same weekend. Now, the other guy chasing history, unprecedented, chasing a 4th consecutive championship. He has been the story of the day, involved in a lap 3 accident, sitting in the garage area for 1 hour and 8 minutes, and now being shown 117 laps behind in 41st position.
See Mark Martin here. He's trying to click off and pass some more cars, gain some more points. You see Clint Boyer just in front of him. But Jimmie Johnson's out there making some laps now, so he's starting to gain a few more points. So he's got 90 points difference right now. And that's Jimmie will be able to increase this a little bit more. But Mark's going forward too, so he might be able to stabilize that and keep it in that area. And that's a very workable margin as we get to Phoenix and Homestead coming up.
Andy, if you're the crew chief for Mark Martin or Jeff Gordon or some of these guys that are now being able to move in and getting closer, what is the #1 focus here? Is it to just tell these guys you've got to finish this race?
Yeah, you got to finish and finish strong. You need a fast race car. Don't give anything. Take it all right here. You got to get every single spot you possibly can.
Again, Mark Martin said we got a great car going back to Phoenix. We got a car we can win with at Homestead. We just got to get close here at Texas, and he has done it. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Not quite halfway here at Texas today. We look ahead to next weekend. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series runs at Phoenix International Raceway. Friday night, 7:30 Eastern, coverage on Speed. Saturday, it's the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Could see Kyle Busch crowned champion in that race, 4 Eastern, ESPN2 next Saturday. And then next Sunday, the now a little bit more closely bunched together chase for the Sprint Cup. Most of Phoenix, our coverage presented by Goodyear. Next Sunday, 2:30 Eastern on ABC. I say that with an asterisk because we're not even halfway through this race in Texas yet. You never know what's going to happen as we move throughout the rest of this one. Alan Bestwick, Rusty Wallace, Brad Doherty from the ESPN Pit Studio. Kyle Busch out in front trying to make history this weekend, trying to become the first driver to win 3 NASCAR National Series races at the same track on the same weekend. He started out Friday night by winning the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race, led the final third of that race to take the victory. Then on Saturday, he just dominated.
About 179 laps of 200 on Saturday, just flat out went out and whooped them.
And so Kyle now out in front and has led the most laps today, 84 of the 142 that we've run so far in search of the triple. Just so you know, the closest that Kyle Busch has ever come to winning the triple was earlier this year in California when he won the first 2 races of the weekend and then finished 3rd in the Cup race. Headline number 1 on the day, though, Jimmie Johnson getting in the crash at lap number 3. He is back on pit road for more repairs. It has been an eventful afternoon for the 3-time defending champ.
Yeah, if you're just now tuning in, take a look at this. Jimmie Johnson beginning to race. He gets tapped by the 77 car, and the 77 got tapped by David Rudin, which started this whole thing. He gets in the wall. That was the big damage right there. They've been in pit road and in the garage area for a long time, but they've got the car back out. It's running fast. He's still got an 85-point lead, though, folks. Pretty good. And pit stops are just now starting to happen again now. Shannon.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. says, free me up through these turns. 4 tires and fuel for the 88. Dave.
Tony Stewart saying this car is tight in the center of the corner. They will take on 4 tires. He gets up 6th place to make this stop just a little bit earlier than everybody else. Shannon?
Martin Truex, another driver in the 1 car who has been having a problem with handling 4 tires for Martin Truex. He says that the car wants to spin out. Not good for the 1. Dave.
Mark Martin trying to get a clear entrance this time into his pit stall. He follows Clint Boyer down as well. He'll come on pit road. Mark saying the front end is not working well, but it's a little bit too loose as well. It'll be a track bar adjustment for him. Clint Boyer will get 4 tires for a car that is too tight right now. They'll make an air pressure adjustment. Jeff Gordon is on pit road as well. He gets to the first pit stall. Plowing is the way this car has been described this time. Remember, it was loose early. Now it's tight. They'll get a wedge adjustment for that. 4 tires and fuel for Jeff Gordon.
Juan Pablo Montoya says the car is getting a little bit loose, but it's still tight in the center. You see those guys on the left side. It's going to be an air pressure 4 tires for Juan Pablo Montoya.
And Greg Biffle's just been fighting that no rear grip on his car, but now that the clouds are coming, you're hearing a lot of these guys are getting happy with their cars as they tighten up. 4 tires and fuel for the 16, Vince.
The 18 of Kyle Busch, he's been happy with his car all day. Tire changes, 4 tires, and a chassis adjustment. Jamie.
And Kurt Busch has not said a word on the radio. You see the wrench in the back, track bar adjustment on the right side. 4 tires and fuel for Kurt Busch.
47 and I see Marcus Ambrose coming out alongside the 2 car. Here's the 11 car of Denny Hamlin on pit road. Jamie.
Great run for Denny Hamlin. Started 25th today, worked his way up to 6th. Last pit stop, they made a wedge adjustment. He said it helped the car tremendously. It's really turning better through the center. Watch this 11 car come to life. 4 tires here. You see the wrench on the left side there in the back window. And he makes the round there, and you see him work on the left. About to drop the track bar for Denny Hamlin. Watch these guys. They've had a bad couple of weeks, and they want to take home the win today.
Denny Hamlin, the Martinsville winner, 3 DNFs in the last 4 chase races. Although he has led so many laps, they have not had any luck and trying to get this car to run up front. There's the 2 and 47 who were battling for a second, and they continue that battle. And there's the margin, about 10 car lengths between Kurt Busch and Marcus Ambrose. DJ, we heard several of the drivers as they go by Jimmie Johnson there. Johnson in the 48th have been on and off pit road repeatedly now, still being shown 119 laps back. We heard some of these guys that are chasing Johnson in the points talking about how their cars were so loose, yet the front end is sliding on the racetrack. DJ, what is that about?
Well, the racetrack just doesn't have a lot of grip, and so it makes it difficult. But now we're starting to get cooler temperatures and no sun out here. And now they're going to be able to even slide these cars around even more. You only have a little bit of grip that you have with these tires for about 4 or 5 laps. And then that's when the car feels like it starts getting up on top of the racetrack. And you literally just have to slide the car around the corners here. And the guys that are doing that best right now are Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, and Marcus Ambrose.
Brian Vickers in the pits in the 83 car. Major chassis adjustment. They'll make a 4-tire stop. Vickers just missed his first top 10 of the chase last week at Talladega and just finished outside the top 10. They get the tear off away.
Now, this has been the type of racetrack that these guys really found themselves running well at for the majority of the year, but in the chase, they've really struggled to find the handle.
Battle for 15th position here. Ryan Newman, as you mentioned, we started toward the back of the pack, didn't have a great qualifying run, but has now driven his car up into the top 15. And Jeff Gordon now back in 16th spot, and Edwards in 17th.
I think these guys have found that this racetrack changed quicker than what they might have thought. We first started this race, there was some sun out. The racetrack, the track temp was up some, but it's really cooled off. Jeff Gordon, Steve Letarte, we heard them say they were going to make a big swing at theirs on that first green flag pit stop. They went it a little too far, got over the edge, and made their car really tight. Now they're having to adjust back.
Here's Kyle Busch. Just before that last round of pit stops, Kyle Busch had a 2.2-second lead over Kurt Busch. After that round of pit stops, he had a 4.8-second lead. Right here you can see he ranks first on pit road. 12.5, 12.3, 12.9. Boys are getting it done on pit road, and Kyle is also getting it done on and off of pit road. He's making up some time somewhere on that racetrack on these green flag stops.
So important to be able to get on and off pit road in a hurry. So Kyle and Kurt Busch both having a good run. We talked about Marcus Ambrose. We haven't talked much about the 88 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Shannon.
Well, speaking with Dale Jr.'s crew chief, Lance McGrew, who is going to be his full-time crew chief for next season, he said the goal for the rest of the year is to string together some good runs and build momentum. This could be the perfect weekend for that because, guys, they finished 11th last week at Talladega, and the race was pretty much uneventful, according to Lance McGrew. So they're really looking for a strong run here today. And talking to some guys in the garage today, I asked them what they thought the team that could win. They said the 88 they thought was one of the fastest cars on the racetrack.
Shannon, it has been 54 races since Dale Earnhardt Jr. has gone to victory lane. June 15, 2008. And driving the car that he felt ran so well and led 41 laps at Kansas, they were very optimistic about how they would run here today. Here's the 18 car of Kyle Busch. He is our leader. Now, Kyle trying to chase some history, but some of the guys moving in on Jimmie Johnson are trying to stay there and move up as well. But look who's in danger of being lapped. Right in front of Kyle, about a half a straightaway, is the 24 car of Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, he's less than 3 seconds from getting a lap down here. This opportunity that they have here today, as we take a look at the points, this is not what they were looking for when they saw the 48 have problems early.
Right now, as the point of the race, he's going to have to dig deep and try to do everything he can to make the best laps possible and try to stay on this lead lap. So that gives him a chance when they have a caution, they can work on this car and get him back in contention.
Jeff Gordon set on the pole, led the first 11 laps, and is now in danger of going a lap down to this guy. Kyle Busch, chasing history, trying to become the first driver to win all three at a track in one weekend. Just 7 laps away from halfway here in the Dickies 500 at Texas, and Kyle Busch goes by the 83 car of Brian Vickers. Busch has now led 3 times for 100 of the 160 laps we have run thus far. If we just joined our coverage, Kyle Busch is chasing history of his own here at Texas this weekend. He is not in the chase, but no driver in NASCAR's 61-year history has ever won all 3 major touring division races at a racetrack in the single weekend. Kyle did it on Friday night in the truck race and the nationwide race last night, and has dominated now here in the first half of the Cup race. Other story of the afternoon, the 48 car, Jimmie Johnson, our points leader and 3-time defending champion, in a wreck on lap 3. He spent an hour and 8 minutes in the garage area. They had to basically rebuild that car. Johnson back on the racetrack, being shown in 40th position, 119 laps behind. You see the points he's lost since the crash. He came in with a 184-point lead, and it is he's lost essentially half his points lead.
Yeah, but he has gained 3 spots since they came back out on the racetrack. They were in 43rd. and he's gained 3 spots so far. He'll get a few more before the end of the race. Now it's up to the other guys, Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon, to try to maximize their day if they really want to make up points on Jimmie.
Yeah, and Mark can do that. He's sitting there in 10th right now, so you think if he can get himself up into the top 5, that'll be a huge gain for them. They'll have this thing down under 70 points if he can make that happen.
There's Jeff Gordon. As we went to break a moment ago, we told you he's in jeopardy of going a lap down. He is doing everything he can to stay in front of that 18 car, but Kyle Busch is easing in.
He is easing in, but just picked his lap times up some. I've seen him run high, run low, doing everything he possibly can to stay up there in front of him. He's about 1/10 of a second off of what Kyle Busch is running right now.
Now looks like Martin Truex. Now you see Martin passing Jeff Gordon. He's trying to stay on the lead lap too.
Yeah, this is one of those times as a driver you're saying, man, I really need a caution, but you hate to ask for that because sometimes it might be you. You don't want to get too greedy.
Dave.
And just a reminder, he was running in 17th when he pitted. He came out in the queue again in 17th, and since then hasn't said anything about the condition of the car. As he battles with Martin Truex Jr., his one question to his spotter has been, are the cars around me for position? If they aren't, he lets them go. Brian Vickers, I think, was an example of that. But for the one car, and obviously to stay ahead of the 18, he's fighting as hard as he can. They haven't improved this car a lot since a couple of green flag pit stops.
Well, if they can run side by side, they won't be anywhere for Kyle Busch to go.
Well, the other thing, too, is it's very important for both of these cars to be the one in front, because if Kyle Busch does get by, you want to at least be in the lucky dog position, and that's what's going to happen here. Whoever wins this battle will at least remain in that spot for a while.
Jeff Gordon able to pull up in front of the one car, and now that's 18th and 19th, and the one car having some trouble, possibly, Shannon?
Well, Martin Truex Jr. came over the radio and reported a vibration, and now there is a caution on the track, guys.
Debris on the racetrack, and that is a huge break for both the 1 and the 24 cars.
And Jeff Burton, because he was the car that was in the lucky dog spot when that caution flew, so he will get a lap back.
So we'll be halfway home this time by. So 167 of 334 laps complete. Caution being waved now for the 3rd time today.
All right, Steve Letarte and Jeff Gordon, you just got a little bonus right there. So now you need to try to take advantage and see if you can do anything with this guy right here. Kyle Busch is setting a torrid pace today.
NASCAR did make it official. The 31 car, as Andy mentioned, is the Aaron's Lucky Dog Free Pass winner, and he will be the first driver lap down, getting back on the lead lap. Jeff Burton, by the way, the answer to a trivia question. He won the very first race here back in 1997, his first career win in a NASCAR Sprint Cup car.
We are just right at halfway now as the caution came out, so half of this race for these guys to get to work on their cars and see if they can keep Kyle Busch from winning all 3 of these races here this weekend.
You heard Rusty talking earlier how this track is changing as it cools off and gets darker here. Andy, anticipating what's going to happen, what kind of adjustments could you make on a 24 car to help him?
Well, they've been kind of adjusting it all day, over-adjusting it at times. They just got to be careful and really listen to Jeff and see what what the car has been doing in comparison to what they've been changing. And it may be the racetrack more than it is their changes that are really causing them the most problems. So they have to get on the other side of their problems here.
Picking up debris on the racetrack, they've gotten it off the track, and now we'll see Kyle Busch will lead the lead lap cars down. Here comes Kyle, Kurt behind him, Ambrose, Earnhardt, and others that are on the lead lap down pit road at 45 miles an hour. Vince.
Crew Chief Dave Rogers said these next 3 races, his first 3 races as crew chief for Kyle Busch, would be all about preparing for 2010. That might be scary for the rest. No changes on this car. It's that good. 4 tires. Shannon?
Well, the 47 is saying that they are really hitting the ground on that front nose. They're going to take this yellow flag opportunity to put a Packer in the right front shock. 4 tires for the 47. Jamie.
Kurt Busch said now that the track is rubbering in, the rear isn't sticking as well as it was. Right side air pressure is the call, Dave.
Tony Stewart, little free in, little tight in the center, down on the track bar, 4 tires. Let's see who wins the race off pit road.
And you know it will not be Marcus Ambrose. Almost 18 seconds in the pits for that 47 car. Lost a lot of positions on that pit stop. There's the 18 of Kyle Busch, who will stay up front.
It's just painful for Ambrose. I mean, he lost a ton of spots right there. They put a Packer in the right front shock, anticipating faster speeds as this track cools down, but man, sure did give it up a lot there.
So under caution here for the 3rd time, you see the 47 car who've been running in the top 5, and they come in a lot of time on that right side. Now they're trying to get backed up and get out of their pits.
Yeah, they have Ryan Newman right in front of them, and he was kind of holding them up from getting out. And by the time they got backed up, Newman had left his stall.
It looked like he had a hard time getting up into first gear then when you're backing up and you don't want to tear the transmission out of it, so you have to take a little bit more time there.
Ambrose went from 3rd to 19th. Take a look at the point standings here. Halfway in this race, and Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, all these guys within 100 points of Jimmie Johnson, who's on the racetrack, but not nearly up to speed. Just past the halfway here, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Dickies 500 in Texas, and our points leader is the story of the day. A big wreck on lap 3. They've had to rebuild the 48 car. Now he is back on pit road. Let's listen in.
Jimmy, what do you want to do here? Do you want to run this thing all the way to the end or just until we can't get any more spots?
I think all the way to the end, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, if you feel anything, I don't want, to have any issues. Like, I don't want you to pound the wall or anything, you just got to be smart. 10-4.
Yeah, one thing Chad realizes, the most important asset that this team has is the driver. They don't want to get him hurt. If something's wrong with his car, they want to just try to get as many spots as they can. But I've always been the one that wanted to do all you can do. Try to finish the race. Even if you can't gain another spot, it's still not a DNF on your record if you finish the race.
We just had the 3rd caution flag today, debris on the racetrack, and so why don't we show you some of the pit stops. In fact, go over the wall with the front tire changer for Robbie Gordon, Mark Hollywood Armstrong.
See all the brake dust that comes out of that wheel. Even on these big tracks, they're using brakes. The clean wheel and new tire going on. Coming around to the left side. You can see you can't see the lug nuts quite as well on the left side because it has positive camber in that wheel, and it's really hard to see sometimes to get the lug nuts on the left side.
Well, right in front of the 0-2 of David Gilliland. That's how close it was. When we talked about Marcos Ambrose's problems in the pits, he actually lost 15 positions by that pit stop and putting that Packer in the right front.
Yeah, you can see right there. I mean, the drive time, the pit stop was a couple seconds, you see, and then, or 4 seconds, and then a couple seconds on the driver time getting on and off pit road. And that was including the backing up and trying to get around Ryan Newman, but 15 spots, man.
Andy, as well as they were running, people at home may wonder, why would you take that time and make that change with the right front?
Well, those Packers are what holds the racetrack up, or the race car up off the track. They use those bump stops to keep from bottoming out, and they give up a little bit as the race goes on. And sometimes you have to put a Packer in there to actually keep the car from hitting the track, especially when the speeds will be picking up later in this race.
Getting set for the green flag, and the points now, it's 81 points. The 5 car is behind the 48. So the folks, the chase is really tightened up here in Texas with 2 more races to go. And we still have 163 laps left in this one. So stay tuned as Kurt and Kyle Busch will lead them down to the green flag. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 3rd position, having a good run in the 88 car. He has yet to lead a lap today.
See, Kurt Busch gets slight advantage off of turn 2 on his brother. Dale Jr. there in 3rd.
It looks like the bottom lane was the one of choice right there on that restart. Kyle might think twice about what he chooses on the next one if he gets the lead back.
Again, the leader gets lane choice on the double foul restart. Everyone else has to fall in line behind him 2 by 2. For our 3 single file, you see the 33 car to get a little racy back there. That is Clint Boyer running in 5th spot, trying to move in on the 00 of Rudeman. There is Boyer in the 33. And behind them, they are 2 by 2, the 14 and the 5. Or a little wiggle from both those cars.
Yeah, look at Matt Kenseth getting a little tail happy off turn 4. This group of cars has been very well matched most of the race.
Oh, trouble, turn 2.
In the wall. Montoya up there.
Gordon around
Jeff
too.
Gordon spins around.
Comes Keselowski into it.
Major points implications. Montoya's car back into the wall. Carl Edwards heavily damaged front and rear. And Jeff Gordon has some damage as well.
Yeah, I don't think Jeff Gordon's got much damage, but Montoya got into the 99 right there as they entered the corner.
Yeah, it looks like Gordon has 0 damage.
Over here.
A lot of damage to Montoya, though.
Juan Pablo's car.
No, I didn't hit anything.
And The guys that were trying to close in on him, some guys that are injured, and this guy may not be, from looking at the car, may not, as you guys said, may not be have minimal damage on it, but he will have to come on pit road and change tires.
This time for tires.
Yeah,
Take the penalty.
This is
Are
still
they flat or are they just shaking?
They're flat and shaking a little bit.
This time, take the penalty. Where's, okay, the pace cars are 2 pits this time we'll take the penalty. Put 4 tires on it, guys. Talk to me about the pace car, Shannon.
The penalty is pitting with the pits closed. He doesn't care. He wants to get him on pit road and get those tires changed. You see him going by the damaged Montoya car, who's headed to the garage area.
Yeah, the thing is that they don't want to tear the race car up with flat tires by going an extra lap. The penalty is just starting at the back of the field, so it's not that big a deal. He's already back there.
Go look at the splitter. 4 tires, fuel, stay back. No fuel. Project, check out the splitter braces.
Yeah, they're concerned when he spun there, he came down off the racetrack.
Splitter braces good? You got one broke or they good? You got one broke. Okay, let's get a plan there. Let's just leave hit it done. Okay, let's go get caught up. Nice and easy. Go.
You see Steve Letard taking care of the details. They're talking about a splitter brace that's broken, so they want to fix it.
And that's the kind of leadership you need, especially in situations like this, and you have a chance to gain on a championship here.
Let's show you what happened here. The incident involving the 99 of Carl Leverage. You see his car heavily damaged sitting there, and the 42.
See Montoya just get loose there, and as he corrects his car, he gets up into the 99. Jeff Gordon, as he turns his car down to try to miss these guys, it gets loose. Here comes the 12 car into it.
Boy, Truex just missed Gordon, and Newman just missed him, and you see he said Brad Keselowski involved there.
Gordon extremely lucky not to get damaged there.
Yeah, and you might ask, why did Jeff Gordon spin out there? Well, you're going 170 miles an hour, and you see all he's doing is trying to turn his car. They've loosened his car up, so they've really got it loose, it looks like, but he's just having to turn the wheel. Did a great job.
Now Juan Pablo Montoya's onboard camera. Well, riding along with Carl Edwards, who was in front of this, he thought it may be up high across the racetrack. Here's Carl's on board.
Yeah, Carl's looking ahead. He was trying to make a pass on Matt Kenseth.
Hold it up there. Hold the brake up there. Hold it up there. Hold it up there. He just got super loose.
Man, he just caught just enough of the bumper to send Carl around. Who, as you said, Andy, was just trying to go around the outside here. Man.
Carl got the back end and the front and side of the car.
Yeah, and for Jeff Gordon, he was already in that corner just as hard as he could possibly go. He couldn't afford to turn left any more than he was, and that's what made him get sideways and loose there during that.
There are the teammates on the racetrack. The 48, Jimmie Johnson being shown now 120 laps down in 40th. And let's update, if you just joined our coverage, what happened to our points leader back on lap number 3 of the race, coming off turn 2. Watch the 77 of Sam Hornish.
Yeah, Hornish gets tapped a little bit by David Rudeman as he corrects his car. He gets up into Jimmie Johnson. Looks like Jimmie might save it, but he comes back down into Hornish.
Slams the inside wall. This car ended up going to the garage area for 1 hour and 8 minutes. They had to totally rebuild the front, the back, the water system, the rear end housing, so many parts and pieces to get him back on the racetrack, and being shown now 120 laps down. It looked like it was an opportunity for the 24 and the 5 car until this happened, and 3 chasers involved, 2 damaged. You see the 24 car sliding by. And indeed, guys, as you said, the 24 of Jeff Gordon really dodging a bullet there.
And now they're working on the front splitter.
That was a hell of a save.
The braces actually that hold that splitter.
Listen, guys, this is our shot. They're going to be going one to go soon. This is our shot. Let's get it fixed, get it one time.
He's telling his guys, we want to do it right now because we don't want to come back. Shannon?
Well, Juan Pablo is out of the car, but the guys are working on the 42 car. Brian Patty said you guys are definitely going to get back out. But what happened out there, Juan?
We just, really close racing. I think Carl was really close to me, and he drove right inside, right beside me, and it got me loose, and I lost him. It's one of those deals that if you don't give anybody any room, it's going to happen. It's a shame. Everybody in this Target Chevy keeps doing an amazing job every week. This week, we didn't have the car we wanted, but running, getting better and better as the day went on. So, kind of sucks when things like that happens.
Yeah, the 42 team have no DNFs this season, so they are working feverishly to get that 42 back out and to get some more points, guys.
Trying to get him back on the racetrack, Shannon. So the 42 is there, the 99 damaged, also the 12 in the garage area. Under caution for the 4th time. That's the point separation. Back after this message and a word from our ABC station.
We have 154 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway, the Dickies 500 chase race number 8, a day that's had its share of action so far, and we're a lap away from the restart with the Busch brothers on the front row. Time for our Aflac trivia question. 12 of the previous 14 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Texas winners are in this race. Who are the 2 winners that are not in the race today?
I don't know.
2 winners not in the race today.
At least you were honest about it. Here you go. Ready?
Terry Labonte, Bill Elliott.
Oh, Dale Jarrett, our own Dale Jarrett up there.
Bill Elliott is in the race today.
Oh, that's true.
Terry Labonte and Dale Jarrett. DJ, after what you've seen so far in this race, you're probably a little happier to be in the broadcast booth, I think?
It's definitely less stressful and not as painful for sure.
All right, let's hear from Carl Edwards before we get the restart. Vince?
He's won here 3 times before, but it's not going to happen today. Carl, what was your take on that incident there?
I might win the race home. I get to go home and see my wife. That's the only good thing. But that Aflac Ford Fusion was fast, and I ran beside Juan the corner before through 3 and 4, and I got pretty close, and his car looked real secure. And we went down in that next corner. I gave him a little more room than I even had here in 3 and 4, and it's just the nature of these cars. You know, someone gets beside you and it gets loose. The replay I saw looked like he almost had it saved, and he just got in the back of my car. So surprised me pretty good, but too bad. And I mean, that's just racing. That's how it goes.
Thanks, Carl. Back to green.
Kurt Busch picked the outside lane, and that has been his advantage now as he pulls away by a car length or so. And David Rudiman trying to take second spot away from Kyle Busch.
Yeah, Kyle kind of spun the tires a little bit right there on that restart.
You see Mark Martin there in the 5 car. We need to update the fact that the 48 car of Jimmie Johnson is still on the racetrack, back on the racetrack in 40th position, 120 laps down. And why is he running this far down, folks? Because every car that he can catch, the next one would be Sam Hornish, who was already out of the race and in the garage area. If he can catch Sam, he would gain 3 more points. And boy, some close calls trying to get up to speed there. And Denny Hamlin in the 11 car.
Yeah, these cars on that outside, that second lane are really a handful on these restarts. These drivers are just having to really drive the wheels off of them when they get in that outside lane, not to lose any spots or to minimize how many spots they may lose.
Right now, 18 cars on the lead lap. Jeff Gordon is the last car on the lead lap at 18th position.
And Jeff, by pitting early, had to start at the very tail end of the field. So he's got a lot of making up to do. He's got a lot of cars. He wasn't able to start up there with the lead lap cars.
Well, Mark Martin almost had to pull down on the inside of the 17 car. They are battling for position. That is 7th, 8th, and 9th on the screen.
Yeah, Mark gives up a few spots on the restarts. It's like his car's a little too loose to go, but then he starts battling back.
Yeah, it's flying through the middle of the corner right there. You saw how he really pulled up on Matt Kenseth right through the middle. See if he's got that kind of car through 1 and 2.
Well, Mark's a patient enough guy and driver, so experienced. He knows what his job is here. He knows he has a great opportunity. He's going to try to take advantage of that, but he also knows we still have 150 laps to go in this race. It's not time to press the issue just yet.
The margin for Mark Martin again down to 85 points. He is second in the point standings. Dave.
And Doc, I haven't checked it over the last few laps, but up to about 10 or 15 laps ago, I checked with the crew. You guess which subject Mark Martin had not talked about? The 48 car, that's right. He is focused on racing and winning and getting the points he can. He knows that Jimmie Johnson was in trouble today, but he has not conversed about it over the radio to his crew.
And that is so typical Mark Martin. He focuses on one thing and one thing only, DJ. You know, you were around him all those years driving. It's on his race car, although he's got to understand, I'm sure he's gone by and seen how damaged this 48 car really is.
Well, the only thing he can control is his race car and what they do here today. They have a great opportunity. He has to just focus, stay focused, and take advantage of that opportunity that's presented itself.
And now with Edwards and Montoya and Keselowski off the racetrack, after that last wreck, that's going to be some more cars that potentially the 48 car could get by. You see, that's 36th spot. That's actually doable for Jimmie Johnson if he can stay on the racetrack, keep making laps. We have 147 laps to go, so you could add that to his 66 that he's got, and you can see that will put him ahead of those cars.
Yeah, 12 more valuable points right there. There's 3 spots for each of those positions.
We talk about the guys, the double foul restart. You saw Kurt Busch choose the outside a moment ago and just start to pull away from the 18 because it looked like he had an issue.
You look at the racetrack right behind this 18 car. You'll see right as he gasses it up. Laying a little bit of a black mark right there. Just you get a little bit of that debris on your tires when you're, especially after you've had a little bit of a green flag stint, and then you go back and don't change tires and have another restart. That's where the potential for spinning the tires is the worst.
There's the interval right there. 1.4 seconds, and they started side by side just a few laps ago. Kurt Busch leader, and there is Kyle Busch. Let's listen in.
I'm sorry, I'm really not that bad. When I step on it, I go wide open and the thing's fogged up.
Kyle apologizing, the new crew chief, Dave Rogers. And what a debut for Dave Rogers. Had been over in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. 20 Nationwide wins. The crew chief comes here and takes over this week. Really planning for 2010, but having a great run here with Kyle Busch.
Here comes Mark Martin now, still trying to get by Matt Kenseth. Matt's making it tough on him.
These guys have been friends. Matt knows that if he gets there, he's not gonna keep Mark from going forward, especially at this point in time of the race. But he really hasn't gotten to that point that Matt's just ready to let him go.
Well, I think one reason is you see Matt Kenseth now has caught Clint Boyer. He says, I think I'm going to go on by Clint and see if I can get this spot. And then if we get out in clear racetrack, you're still faster, I might give it to you. But I'm going to try to make up some spots here.
He's really helping Mark by going to that second lane up there. Now Mark's able to get a lot more air to the front of his car, which is probably helping him.
Boyer being shown in 6th position. By the way, Kenseth has led more laps at this track in a cup car than anybody else, so he's pretty darn good when it comes to Texas. Kurt Busch, the leader. Kyle Busch, Rudem, and Earnhardt Jr., the top 4.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Dickies, wear with purpose. Chevy and our award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers. Verizon Wireless, America's largest 3G network. And Aflac, we've got you under our wing.
Major complexion change here at Texas Motor Speedway in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup because of a problem with Jimmie Johnson on lap 3. A lot of guys moving in the point standings. And here's one of the guys they're chasing right now, Kurt Busch, and what a run he has had today. Kurt Busch has now led 4 times for 71 laps. Let's get you up to speed on our leader, starting with Kurt and Jamie.
We'll start with both of us, and he's had a heck of a car today. All day we talk about it, it's brand new, and you know, it's been 29 races since he's been to victory lane, and Pat Tryson, his crew chief, and he are going separate ways, only 2 races remaining. What a better way than to get in the victory lane at Texas for the first time. He hasn't said a word on the radio. Air pressure adjustment worked out well, Vince.
And what a nice debut it's been for Kyle Busch's crew chief, Dave Rogers. Rogers and Kyle have worked together on the Nationwide side before, but this is their first go on the Cup side, and it's been a good one. The car has been good. They've made no major adjustments to this race car all day long. Dave Rogers said it's been a smooth transition, helped by former crew chief Steve Addington, and also the 2 other crew chiefs on the Gibbs Cup side, Greg Zimpedelli and Mike Ford. So far, so good for Dave Rogers in the 18. Running 3rd today is David Rudeman. Rudeman had an outstanding run here back in April. You may recall he finished 11th, but he started on the pole, led 40 laps, had a really good day. Another good day today. As crew chief Rodney Childers said, if the cloud cover stayed today and there was a cooler temperature day, he thought the 00 would have a fine afternoon, and it's been just that. Shannon?
Vince, a lot of teams in the garage this weekend look to the 88 as one of the fastest on the racetracks. So far, so good. They have had some handling issues today, mostly tight in the center for that 88 car. But Dale Jr. said just this weekend that a top 5 would do miles of good for this team's confidence, and so far, that's right where they're running. Dave?
Tony Stewart holding down 5th position in a brand new race car they took 2 months to build. Darian Grubb, the crew chief, told me you can get them done in 3.5 weeks or so, but if you do them in 2 months, you get to add all the stuff you learn along the way. They feel very good about this race car, trying to work their way toward that 1st position, Jamie.
Well, when Matt Kenseth and his team unloaded this car on Friday, they said it was not good. It was definitely not a special race car. Well, it has gotten better. He started 30th, and believe it or not, the best thing that has helped this car today, cloud cover. We keep hearing about it, but the cooler the track gets, the better his car turns, and the farther forward he goes. Dave?
Mark Martin has been fighting a loose race car. It's just a little bit better on this run. Alan Gustafson told me this morning the biggest problem for him was trying to get the car in the track during practice yesterday. They've accomplished that to a large degree. Now just trying to make up all the points they can based on what's happened to Jimmie Johnson. You skip back to the 33 car of Clint Boyer in 8th position. His day has been quite good. Floating the nose has been about the only complaint he's had, but it hasn't really hampered him. They made an air pressure adjustment on that last stop. A little air out of the left rear. It's still just a little tight for Clint, Shannon.
Marcos Ambrose still fighting forward drive in that number 47 car, but man, is that car fast. He restarted 19th after adding that Packer to the right front shock. Marco said he's had some bad luck over the last couple weekends, would really like to end this season on a high note. And when he used the 2 words he used to describe this car earlier in the race, yeehaw! Dave.
A.J. Allmendinger running in the Richard Petty Motorsports Ford. Yes, get used to it. Having a great run, started 16th today and has steadily worked forward despite a little lack of rear grip on that car. The transition to Ford has been going quite well according to crew chief Mike Shiplin. In fact, they tested in Daytona this week with a bunch of cars for a good year, and they had quite good success, learned what they could about the Ford, and are moving forward in that direction. Jamie?
And Kevin Harvick just got around the 44 A.J. Allmendinger, but Kevin Harvick, our in-race reporter, having a pretty good day. He brought the same car he had a top 10 run with at California. They had high expectations for it. Didn't get it all in qualifying, though, qualified 24th, but he continues to move forward. They've taken a lot of swings, wedge, track bar, air pressure, but it's paying off, guys.
But the story today, folks, thank you very much on the top 10 there, has been this car, the points leader and 3-time defending NASCAR Sprint Cup champion, Jimmie Johnson. Let's update what happened, folks. The car has been totally rebuilt because of this incident on lap number 3 in turn 2. The 77 car. Sam Hornish gets out of shape and just catches the edge of the 48 of Johnson, who spins and will come back across the racetrack and get clipped again, and now will slam the inside wall. Jimmie Johnson Chevy had to go to the garage area and spend 1 hour and 8 minutes being totally rebuilt. They got him back on the racetrack, and he is now being shown 121 laps down in 40th position. Let's go down to his pits and talk to crew chief Chad Knapp. Vince.
Chad, the team did a great job of just repairing this car, but what kind of condition is it now for Jimmie to drive?
It's really not too bad. Obviously, the car's not as fast as what we need it to be, but I think we'll be able to keep tires on it and keep the car out there running above minimum speed. So, it's unfortunate to have that happen. I really don't even know what happened, to be honest with you, yet. But the guys on the Lowe's team did a fantastic job fixing the car, and we're back out there, we're making some laps, and I think we'll be able to pick up a few spots, and that's really all that matters. We're in a caution, so I got to get going here.
Thanks, Chad. Doc?
Caution on the back straightaway. Thank you, Vince. The 43 car, Reed Sorensen involved. There's the damage on his Dodge. Caution flag for the 5th time today.
Looks like the right front tire's down and the right side's pounded pretty good. Oh yeah, right front tire went down. Oh, that's a hard lick too.
Yeah, that's a hard hit. I think he might come down and get some of the inside wall right here also.
He hit where the safer barrier wasn't. The barrier stops coming off the corner, and it just pancaked the right side of his Dodge.
Take it to the garage. Take it to the garage.
And they got some broke suspension parts they're going to have to replace.
That's a terrible feeling as a driver. That right front tire lets go, whether you're going down into the corner or coming out of the corner where you're obviously pretty much wide open in the throttle. Nothing you can do. Hang on.
Now, the important part for these guys is try to get that car fixed. If they can't get it fixed, it can help Jimmie Johnson, who's going to try to limp around and get as many laps as possible and move up. In fact, Johnson, and after 3 more laps, will be able to move in front of Sam Hornish in the 39th position. Hornish already out and in the garage area. Here come the leaders on the pit road. Vince.
The 18 of Kyle Busch. Kyle says he hasn't had very good restarts lately. Apologized for that. He says he needs some more grip. They're going to go down a half round on the track bar and also make an air pressure adjustment. The 00 of David Rudeman free off the turns, but otherwise good. They're going to make a slight air pressure adjustment there as well. Jamie?
Air pressure adjustment. Last stop for Kurt Busch made the car so good. No adjustments this time. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel. Dave?
Tony Stewart's car running in 5th, loose in and off. It'll be a track bar adjustment down on that to help it. 4 tires and fuel. Jeff Gordon just ahead of him, really tight. Believes that right front is building up too quickly. They'll make an air pressure adjustment. Looks like Kyle Busch made no adjustment except to win the race off pit road, maybe.
Yeah, Kyle Busch, once again, they get it done on pit road, Dave, and a great effort by the 18 crew. The 24 still sitting there. He was the last car on the lead lap, and now Jeff Gordon will get out. So Kyle Busch again gains a spot. Kurt back to second. You see Earnhardt Jr. lost 2, and Casey Kane up 3 positions. Working caution for the 5th time a day. An incident involving the 43 car in the backstretch. Back with the restart in just a moment.
125 laps to go in the Dickies 500 at Texas Motor Speedway, with Kyle Busch now leading his brother Kurt as we work the 5th caution of the day. Let's recap what's happened so far in our Busch's Baked Beans race rundown. Big story of the day, lap number 3, Jimmie Johnson.
Oh, Jimmie Johnson, problems right off the bat, off of turn 2. Take a look at this. The 00 gets in the back of the 77 of Sam Hornish. He gets into Jimmie. Jimmie crashes, comes across the track, and bam, right here, the big one. That really tore his car up. Spent a lot of time working on it.
So while Jimmie Johnson was in the garage, the guy trying to make history today, Kyle Busch, trying to win 3 straight races in one weekend, has been having a pretty good run.
Boy, he has. He's led 113 laps thus far, and really strong. Looks like the car to beat, along with his brother at this point in this race. He's doing a great job.
While the Busch brothers, Kyle and Kurt, have done most of the leading, Jimmie Johnson's team went to work repairing that 48 car. It took him 1 hour and 8 minutes to get Johnson back onto the racetrack. While he came out running some 115 laps down, the problem for the guys closest to him in points starting the day is they've had their own troubles and haven't been able to take advantage.
Oh, big problems. Take a look at Juan Pablo Montoya. Loses it. He gets up in a Carl Edwards. They both get in a big crash. Jeff Gordon spins, doesn't touch anything, comes down in the pit area, repairs a broken splitter brace, and he's back on the racetrack with no damage, trying to battle back and gain some points on his teammate, Jimmie Johnson.
Jeff Gordon is 18th in the race right now. Mark Martin is 7th in the running order, and Jimmie Johnson, for the moment, is back in 40th position, 121 laps down. Now, the Busch brothers, Kyle in the 18, Kurt in the 2. They've done most of the leading. Here's Kyle's assessment of the Busch brothers battle.
If he gets out front, he checks out to that distance, and it's over. Same thing with me, you know. It's going to take traffic or a long run with pit stops and us get out front to win this thing. I don't know why I can't do it on the restart. I'm struggling right now. I'm trying to figure it out. We're going to win it.
Good positive attitude about that, no doubt, with Dave Rogers. But the problem with Kyle Busch is the last couple restarts, he's spun the tires, and he can't catch up. He just keeps spinning them, whether he's on the outside or into inside. Let's take a look at the
last couple restarts here, yeah. That's
take a look at Kyle.
Outside.
See that right rear tire just spinning. You can see the little thin black mark behind him going down in turn 1.
And his brother Kurt will get the lead on him into turn 1. That was a couple restarts ago. Now the last one.
Watch the right rear tire. Watch the rubber come off that tire right there as he starts just burning that tire. Can't get it hooked up.
So they're lined up side by side again. By the way, the Busch brothers have led 197 of 210 laps so far in the race. Championship picture mentioned again, Mark Martin running 7th. Jimmie Johnson for the moment showing 39th. It's an 84-point gap between them. It was 184 to start the day. My, how things can change in Texas, gentlemen.
It can change in a hurry. By the way, there were 7 wave-around cars. McMurray, Vickers, Elliott, Waltrip, Darnell, Andretti, and Sadler. Those are the 7 wave-around cars, and NASCAR has waved off the restart. They will add 1 more lap. So the Busch brothers up front, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, and you heard Kyle the concern about being able to get the restart and not spin those tires and be able to hang up there. Well, ABC Tuesday, the #1 new drama on television has arrived, ABC's V. Over 18 million viewers welcome the visitors from beyond. Don't miss a second of the series critics are calling electrifying, stunning, and instantly addictive. ABC's V, all new Tuesday at 8 Eastern Time, 7 Central on ABC. Let's go down and talk to the crew chief for the 2 car of Kurt Busch, Jamie.
Well, we see the brothers side by side. What do you think? You guys have an advantage again here on this restart?
I don't know. I think 18's probably got the advantage just because he gets to control the restart. But hopefully we can get by him in a lap or 2 and drive away from him. I think we got a pretty good Miller Lite Dodge right now, so I think we're just a tick better. But we're pretty equal right now, so we'll see what happens.
It's all about who gets out in front with these cars, right, Doc?
That's exactly right. Got to get the advantage, get that clean air. We do want to mention, by the way, that David Reagan got the Aaron's Lucky Dog, got the free pass on that caution flag. He's now being shown in 19th spot. Listen to the 24 radio.
I'm a fan of them double file restarts right now because we're a whole lot closer to the front than we beat 18th single file.
It's looking on the bright side, for sure.
Gotta love the optimism. Okay, let's watch and see if Kyle Busch can fix the spinning tire issue on the restart.
Still gets a little wiggle there, but it gets a good jump.
Yeah, I think that was just for the rear tires biting that wiggle. He was in the gas right there. Kind of outfoxed his brother on that one a little bit.
See if Rudiman can hang on the inside. No, Kurt's going to get the momentum up high and go by Rudiman for 2nd spot. Matt Kenseth is there. So is the 14 car of Tony Stewart as they are side by side for 4th spot.
See right behind them Mark Martin and Dale Jr., who lost a couple of spots on pit road that time.
Just over 120 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. 3 races remaining in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. We're at Phoenix next week and then Homestead, and boy, how the complexion has changed. Jimmie Johnson, an accident, a damaged car, being shown back in 39th position. And these guys up front, the 14 car and the 5 car, trying to gain some valuable points.
Well, here's some hard racing going on and back further in the pack.
Mentioned David Reagan was a lucky dog car, being able to get back on the lead lap. He's in this group. You see McMurray, last week's winner at Talladega. 31 car. Jeff Burton, a 2-time winner here. You see him in that mix.
See Gordon pull down to the inside. He didn't get the run off of turn 2 that he wanted to, but he wanted to protect that inside. Didn't want anybody getting down there. That high side's been a little bit difficult on these restarts till you get a few laps on the tires.
Gordon being shown in 17th position in front of him. That is Burton in 16th and Hamlin in 15th.
I don't know what Jeff's, if they've really loosened this car up now, but he doesn't seem to be getting a run off the corner at all right now.
Really just struggled all day. I mean, he had a good first part of the race where he led a little bit, but then since then he's just not been very good.
If you're wondering at home, folks, about Jimmie Johnson, our points leader, who's being shown 121 laps down, if the entire field were to be in a wreck right now, which of course is not going to happen, the best Jimmie Johnson could finish would be 35th. Because he's that many laps down, but they're going to keep running and hoping that they can get as many laps as possible in.
Yeah, they're 39th right now, so they have to keep running until they can get every possible spot that's out there. And like you said, they can get up to 35th if everything goes their way.
So 184-point margin when the day began. Right now sits at 80 points. And he is an 80 points in front of the 5 car of Mark Martin and 124 in front of Jeff Gordon. There's Kyle Busch, and again, if you just joined, we mentioned that Kyle Busch is chasing a little bit of history of his own, trying to become the first driver to win the trifecta at a racetrack on a weekend, winning in the trucks nationwide and the Cup car.
Yeah, right now it looks like his brother might be the only one that could spoil that possibility, as we see Ryan Newman going around the outside of Jeff Gordon here. The other shot just a minute ago coming off a 2. We saw Marcus Ambrose on the inside of Casey Kane trying to take that spot away as he's gotten himself back up into the top 10, trying to move into that 8th spot.
He lost 16 spots on pit road when they put a Packer into the right front shock bump stop. And he's been trying to make that up ever since. He came out 19th. You can see now he's moved his way up into the top 10.
Our in-race reporter there, Kevin Harvick, having a pretty good day today. He's up into the top 10. Gordon really struggling though.
20 car moving into your picture. That's Joey Logano, the rookie, being shown a lap down now in 24th position.
He is the first car that is 1 lap down, so he's going to fight hard to stay in that spot. He's fighting Casey Mears for it right now.
By the way, our condolences to the Logano family. He lost his grandfather, Salvatore Logano, this past Friday after he had battled a long time with lymphoma. So our condolences to his dad, Tom, and the entire Logano family. Talk about our in-race reporter, Kevin Harvick, moving in on the 9 car of Casey Kane. That's for 9th spot.
Yeah, talking to Kevin the other day, he was pretty excited about his race car. He thought that they had a good balance to it. He said that he was really excited that maybe as they got later on, in the race, that it was going to benefit him that he could get to the front. So we'll see what transpires here as we get down close to 100 laps to go.
114 laps to go here. Could it be an historic day for Kyle Busch? Kyle Busch trying to win all 3 in the same weekend. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back in Texas, and lots of motorsports yet to come your way. We're going to wrap up what has been a wild one here at Texas Motor Speedway with NASCAR now tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. And we invite you to join us next week, the Jewel of the Desert, Phoenix International Raceway, Saturday, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Live coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series race. Possibly Kyle Busch could wrap up the championship at Phoenix with a 15th or better finish. And of course on Sunday, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series presented by Goodyear, 2:30 Eastern time right here on ABC. Automobile Club of Southern California NHRA Finals coming up next Sunday, 7 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. Little smoke out of the 02 car. David Gillen, that is the 4th Joe Gibbs Racing car.
You see all the letters rubbed off that left front tire.
Yeah.
A little bit of contact out there somewhere.
Going into turn 1, Joey Logano, who's a teammate there, came up. David came down. Bad timing for those two. Yeah. Looks like Gilliland might have got the worst end of it.
Good save.
Well, 2 of the Gibbs cars, and the other one is the one everybody's chasing right now, the 18 car of Kyle Busch. And we talked about the weekend he's had, folks. He led 54 laps Friday night and won the truck race, 7th win of the year. 179 of 200 nationwide laps Saturday, picking up his 8th nationwide win of the year. And now you see the laps he has led here in the Sprint Cup race. And how about we go down to Mr. Rogers' world and talk to his new crew chief, Dave Rogers.
It's been a good debut for Dave Rogers, but Dave, you guys haven't had to tweak on the car too much. How about the fuel mileage? You've still got one more stop to go. Are you going to be able to make it in that window?
Yeah, M&M's Toyota Camry's been really fast all day. Kyle's happy with it. Making a few tweaks here and there, but a little short on fuel, so it'll be a nail biter at the end.
Car-wise, anything to make it any better for that stretch run, or is he happy with it?
More grip, more grip.
They always want more grip, don't they, guys?
Have you ever heard a driver DJ ask for less grip?
Driver's best friend, grip. Man,
I've never had one ask.
Yeah, everybody thinks they can be a driver if you get more grip.
Give me 4 Goodyears every couple laps. Well, Kyle Busch a leader, Kurt Busch in 2nd, Rudeman is 3rd, Tony Stewart is 4th, and folks back in 5th position, moving up slowly is Mark Martin, and the points margin between Martin and Jimmie Johnson has now dropped, top of your screen, to 75 points.
This might be one of Mark's better runs of the day, too, right now. He's running good lap times.
Yeah, and he can see 5 more points right up there in front of him. He's not thinking about that right now. He just knows that's another spot, and he knows that'll be very beneficial not only to him here today, but in his chances as he goes on and tries to get this championship. Dave?
And the last run, he described the car as pretty good. They made no changes to it on this last pit stop. Alan Gustafson told me this morning, you know, initially after practice on Saturday, I felt terrible about things. I didn't think we were that good. But then I started to think about what this track can do to you and how tough a place it is to race. And I reasoned, you know what? I don't think we really are that bad. And if we can just tweak on it a little bit, we might be able to get Mark into the top 5. They've done that.
And he's actually faster than the car he is chasing right now. Tony Stewart, the car in front of him. Martin running laps at 31.5, and Stewart had been the 31.7 range. So we'll see if Martin can reel in that 14 car. Well, the guy they're all chasing right now is Kyle Busch, who has now led 5 times, for 137 laps. Kyle trying to get his 5th win here in 2009.
You're watching ESPN on ABC.
96 laps to go in the Dickies 500 at the Texas Motor Speedway. The race for the lead. The Busch brothers, Kyle in the 18, Kurt in the 2. They have dominated this day so far. We've talked a lot about them. We've talked a lot about the championship story with Jimmie Johnson's early troubles and the struggles of some of the guys chasing them in points. And while we see if Kurt can inch in a little bit further on his brother and make it a fight for the race lead, let's talk about some of the guys a little farther down on the lead lap that we'll want to put a little spotlight on here, besides some of the main stories of the day. Jamie, who you got?
Well, Casey Kamey's one of the chasers. I talked about it earlier. This is not their favorite track. They're going to be happy to walk away. They didn't know what kind of car they had coming into today, and he has been loose all day long. I think Casey's given up. He said, I don't know what else to do. Last stop, they did air pressure, track bar, wedge adjustment, everything. Car remains the same. Vince?
Jamie, that 11th spot now taken over by Jeff Burton, who had a hard crash in practice. They had to go to a backup car. The first laps that backup car saw, qualifying. He had to tiptoe. They started 42nd, and he's driven his way solidly up to, whoa, now 11th. Shannon, Jamie, back to you.
And Greg Biffle on that last stop, they made a wedge adjustment, and he told his team, hey guys, we're doing pretty well. I think we're actually going in the right direction. But he just came on the radio and he said, guys, I am loose, bad loose. So the car, they thought it was getting better. It's not getting any better. Dave?
A.J. Allmendinger has been pretty quiet on the radio since that last restart. He had been tightening as the track got cooler, so they made a wedge adjustment on the last run, and it seems to have improved the car just a little bit. Jamie?
And Denny Hamlin, they had a pretty good run going. They were moving up through the field, but on the last stop, he slid through his pit box and got frustrated, had to back it up, and that's why they had about a 20-second pit stop there. But his car, again, just fighting loose. That's what we're hearing a lot of, Shannon.
Ryan Newman in the 39 car coming off that terrifying wreck last week in Talladega. They really have been struggling with the handling of this car all weekend. Tony Gibson told me they tried all of their intermediate setups on this car. They even tried the 14 setup and nothing really worked. Since the green flag has dropped, they've tried to be conservative. They just want to keep Ryan out of trouble and out of another wreck this weekend. Now right behind him, Martin Truex Jr. The car has been pretty good for the first 5 laps, and then he says it just goes to junk. This team really needs a good finish. They've struggled all season long, but this is a pretty good track for it. He's had 4 top 10s in the last 7 starts here at Texas. Dave?
On that last pit stop, Steve Letarte had the crew pull spring rubbers out of the left rear of the car. It did improve. It's just a little bit tight right now, but since Jeff has lost all of his track position, he really hasn't been able to gain a lot of it back. Crew chief Steve Letarte told me this morning they only thought they had a 10th to 15th place car, and I thought he was kidding just a little bit. I don't think he was. They've been struggling all day long. Shannon?
David Reagan has been struggling on tight off conditions on this number 6 car today here at Texas Motor Speedway, but they have been working on it all race long. David says he's very comfortable at this racetrack. He's turned a lot of laps, even made a truck start here. He finished 11th last season. He would love to make his way up into the top 10. Alan?
Okay, thanks, Shannon. So those are the guys on the lead lap. We've had some others who were on the lead lap until a minute ago who were wave around cars and had to come in for fuel. Now, if you've been with us all afternoon, you've seen this several times, but people tuning in and out all day want to make sure they're up to date on the headline story of the day, which is Jimmie Johnson had a big lead in the points coming into the race, but just 3 laps into this event got in trouble in turn number 2.
Yeah, turn 2. You see, he gets spun right there by Sam Hornish Jr., who got tapped by the 00 car of David Rudiman. You see Jimmie come across the track, hits the wall hard, big damage, been sitting in the garage for many, many laps, hour and 8 minutes. He's back on the track right now, trying to regain some precious lost points.
And you see the gap now 70 between Jimmie and Mark Martin. It was 184 to start the race. Mark Martin is running right now in 4th spot on this racetrack. And while Jimmie's chasing history, the other headline story of the day is Kyle Busch, Brad, trying to do the triple.
Yeah, we saw him almost do it earlier this year. Second race of the year, I believe, was at Fontana, where he won the truck race and the nationwide race. Finished 3rd in the Cup race. Well, he's won both those 2 races this weekend, and right now he is a rocket ship out front. He's led 150 laps.
And while we saw Kurt trying to close in on Kyle a couple minutes ago before the up to speed, Kyle has gotten away and established an 0.8 of a second lead with 88 laps to go at Texas.
Laps clicking away here in the Dickies 500 at Texas. Just 83 laps to go, and it has been the brothers Busch. In fact, Kyle and Kurt Busch have led all but 13 laps here today. Let's listen into the radio.
You know what this reminds me of a legend car race? That. Why is that? Because I got my brother in my mirror just stalking me.
These two grew up running the Bull Ring, the mile short track out in Las Vegas, and they ran Legends cars. Of course, Kurt Busch, the older of the two brothers, but Kyle was pretty good, and they raced nose to tail, lap after lap, and a lot of fans remember the early years watching these guys run there on the third mile oval.
Yeah, we might have to get Kirk's take on that, though.
Both cars getting loose off that corner. All right, we're going to check some speeds at the line here, see who's coming. Maybe on these leaders. I watched Mark Martin. He was fast there for a little while. He was the fastest car on the racetrack. Let's see if he still is.
So far, it is the two car.
Rudeman right there.
See those cars flashing by. It's important to note, by the way, because of the impact it has on the point standings, that the 12 car has come back out of the garage area. Brad Keselowski back in the race. We are told the 42 car of Montoya will be back out very shortly, and the 43 car is coming back out as well. Let's check these speeds at the line again as they come by and see exactly who's quick.
Yeah, Mark Martin had been faster. That lap we showed, he was not. He actually lost a little ground to the leaders, but he's in fourth spot. Last lap was 31.80. 81 on Kyle Busch.
Man, you can see right there the 18 and the 2. These guys sliding these cars off the corner, just really wheeling them right now.
Had a little trouble there getting by on the 78.
They cost the 18 car some speed. Let's see, there's the 2 car coming by, and Kyle was quicker that time. But Mark Martin is the fastest of the bunch.
Yeah, that time Mark picked it back up, but he has been for about 10 laps a little bit faster than the leaders.
Yeah, he's really closing in on David Rudeman in that third spot, so that's 5 more very valuable points for Mark.
Yeah, you can see the top 3 speeds are not in the top 3.
Folks, the lights have now come on here at Texas Motor Speedway. The temperatures are going to drop, and this track's going to change, and the racing's going to get even better here in the final 79 laps. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Texas Motor Speedway here in the Dickies 500, Kyle Busch trying to chase some history and trying to win all 3 races here at Texas in the same weekend. That's never been done before in NASCAR's history, winning the truck race, nationwide race, and the cup race. Now, the calculators are very busy on pit road because the leaders are expected to be on pit road sometime in the next 7 to 10 laps. And DJ, that could make it very interesting if that's their last pit stop and trying to stretch it to the checkered flag.
It could be. The driver may have to do some things as far as saving fuel, but I'm going to defer your question over to our crew chief here. It's his job to get us to that point.
He was busy calculating.
Yeah, I'm over here calculating the numbers, and it's if they can make it to lap 271, they're going to come close. They're not going to. They're still going to have to save some fuel that last run. We're hearing Marcus Ambrose is saying they're going to pit on lap 268, which is going to place them short.
And here's the 42 car coming out. Why is that important? Because Montoya is not going to win the race, but if he comes back on the racetrack and runs laps, that's one less position that guy, Jimmie Johnson, can get by continuing to run laps. And that's 3 valuable points in the standings.
You see a little smoke coming out of the back of it.
Jimmie Johnson still being shown in 39th position here, 124 laps down. The point lead was 184 entering today, and right now it is down to 70 points as Mark Martin being shown in 2nd position in the point standings, but 4th on the racetrack. There's the margin across the top of your screen.
Yeah, Mark Martin is catching the 0-0 of Rudeman. Not quite to him yet, but he's been running him down.
Yeah, he's gotten to this point, but these guys are really sliding the back end on all of these top cars, off the corner in particular. So these tires are really worn now. These guys are going to really be excited about getting some new tires on these things because it becomes a handful. Kyle Busch, though, is doing the best job because he's pulled out to about a 2-second lead on his brother now. You can see Rudeman and Mark Martin both rear end hung out there coming out of turn 4.
We are hearing the 24 car will be coming very soon. Jeff Gordon being shown back in 18th position. Only 19 cars are still on the lead lap.
Yeah, pretty disappointing for Jeff Gordon and his team not being able to take more advantage of this opportunity they've been presented.
Yeah, we see David Rudeman there waving. He's going to pit this time, looks like.
The one car coming down pit road is Truex. He's on the lead lap as Bobby Gordon is a lap down. Let's go over the wall in the 7 pits with Hollywood Armstrong. The 88 car is in there. Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting his stop. Shannon.
Dale Jr. says the car is tight on landing in 3 and 4. It was an air pressure adjustment for the 88 and 4 tires.
He comes down. Here comes the 5 car of Mark Martin down pit road. Tony Stewart behind him as they come down.
Tony Stewart did a nice job of getting off onto pit road there. He made up a lot of time on Mark Martin. Dave?
Look out, Allmendinger exiting. That'll slow down Tony Stewart's entry a little bit. The 5 car of Mark Martin in as well. And so Tony Stewart's going to get a chassis adjustment. Mark Martin got no changes last time. He is going to get a little bit of an air pressure adjustment this time. Clint Boyer is on pit road as well. He gave up the 10th position. Jamie?
And Casey Kane in the 9 car still too loose, making more adjustments there, working on the left side. 4 tires, air pressure for Casey Kane. Shannon?
Guys, Marcos Ambrose said putting that Packer in the car was a big mistake. They are going to take it back out on this pit stop. They're also going to take 4 tires and fuel for the 47 car.
Here comes the 18 of Kyle Busch. Busch is in his pit box. They put a little bit of tape on the front. They're going to make a track bar adjustment and also air pressure in the right front. Kyle says he needs it to be snugged up a little bit. It came to him in the center, but it was a little bit too late. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel for the 18.
Mark it down, folks. Kyle Busch pits with 65 laps to go. That is further than they have gone all day long on fuel. Remember this race a year ago that Carl Edwards ran 69 laps but had to coast at about half throttle for the final 4 to 5 laps.
Well, we may see that very scenario. Kurt Busch, though, trying to stretch his fuel.
The 11 car.
Maybe Kirk's going to come in this time. You can see him dive back down to the inside of the racetrack.
Second place car, Denny Hamlin on pit road. Jamie.
And Denny Hamlin just said he is too tight now, so they have to go back on those last adjustments, putting the track bar back up, putting the air back in, see if they can get this car back to running how it was earlier on. You see, he has some marks there. He got in the wall earlier on. So the car has completely changed. Now that the track is really cooling down, these guys are in a scramble to get these cars back to handling better. And Kurt Busch is in his box, been very calm on the radio and said, guys, I'm loose everywhere and I've got a vibration. Let's take our time. 4 tires, let's put some air pressure in and try to get this car back to the way it was. This is exactly what Kurt Busch expected the car to do. It's a good stop. He's down and away, guys.
So he has a couple of laps to his advantage over his brother Kyle Busch in terms of the fuel mileage sweepstakes, and Kyle would have to go 65 laps. There's Kyle, our leader, who has dominated in leading 172 laps today.
Just on that pit road stop right there, Kurt Busch lost a second to Kyle Busch.
Marcus Ambrose in the 47, the 16 of Greg Biffle. They're being shown back in 11th and 12th position.
Yeah, Kurt Busch is going to lose quite a bit of time on this exchange. Matter of fact, he's going to be back in the 4th spot, actually 5th spot behind Tony Stewart.
Kyle Busch, our leader, and by the way, Juan Pablo Montoya has gone back to the garage area for more repairs that could impact the points. Back in a moment. Inside of 60 laps to go here in the Dickies 500 at Texas NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, and Kyle Busch chasing history. He and brother Kurt Busch have led all but 13 laps today. Let's listen to the 18 radio.
You all didn't get them tight. Look at me. Are they tight? Say they're all good, bud. They say they're all good. So it vibrates real hard off the corner. off the gas, it vibrates again.
Boy, that's not a good sign. That's exactly what a loose wheel would feel like.
Show you their pit stop here and see if we can see anything that may give us an indication if they have something that didn't get attached.
Okay, we're watching, everything's normal. The front tire changer's just a little ahead. See the rear tire changer slips and falls coming around the car. Can't really see them hitting the lug nuts on that left side. Everybody looks like they're happy with what they did, though.
So we can look at the left side now. Watch the left rear guy, see if he gets all 5 of them hit.
Yeah, that looks good to me. I mean, if I'm sitting there watching that, I would think the tires are tight. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I just don't like the way the driver's describing that, because that's exactly what the symptoms are if you've got a loose wheel.
Vince?
Well, and you guys saw the crewmen slapping high five after that stop, so they all thought they had taken care of their business. And Kyle, I can tell you, listening to his radio all day long, has not complained about the car at all. So for him to be very descriptive about the vibration in the car certainly was alarming to crew chief Dave Rogers. He went to the crew guys to make sure they did their job and got those wheels tightened on, those lug nuts tightened. They all assured him they did. That may be just one of their problems, because they're also about 3 laps short on fuel to get to the end.
Got to be very interesting, Vic.
In a right side shot of our pit stop. I can't believe those tires are loose, man. They hit them hard.
Yeah, I have to agree. It looked like to me that they were tight.
Yeah, and they're certainly trying to reassure Kyle, but you know as a driver what you're feeling in there. Of course, it can be different things. It could be that set of tires. Just takes some time for the pressure to build up and then hopefully give you a better feeling.
Moving in on the 6 car of David Reagan, and last time by, the 2nd place car, 3rd and 4th place cars were all faster than Kyle Busch.
Well, he's backed off a little. They could be trying to save some fuel too. I think he's got for sure that there's probably all the way back to Kurt Busch, who's in the 5th spot right now. He may be the only one that I see right there that stayed out long enough that he might be able to salvage enough fuel out of this.
Yeah, out of the top 10, he pitted on lap 271, and everybody else pitted 269 or earlier. So he does at least have a shot at it. He's still going to have to save a little bit of fuel to make it, though.
Of course, I stood right here last year and said there was no way Carl Edwards could make it either, and I
was right with you.
Well, folks, it came down to fuel mileage at this racetrack 1 year ago. Carl Edwards had led a ton of laps. He had dominated today, just like Kyle Busch has done now, and they told him he might be short on fuel. Remember how it all unfolded?
We squeeze every little bit, use our best mileage. We are 0.2 of a lap short, so that's our best mileage of the day. I hear you. Keep conserving fuel, bud. Nice, clean, smooth laps. Keep an eye on your gauge there. Just let him go.
This is checkered.
Outside, checkered flag. That is it. You're the winner. Awesome job, guys. Gosh darn it.
Hell yes! Right there. That's Ford fuel mileage. Great job.
Inside of 50 laps to go here in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Dickies 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch, the leader. It had been the Busch brothers who had led the bulk of the laps, Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch. And actually, Kyle Busch came in for what may be his final stop 2 laps before Kurt did. Kurt stayed out 2 laps longer. There's the 2 car. And when Kurt came back out on the racetrack, he had lost 4 positions on the track.
Yeah, they're trying to stretch his fuel mileage and trying to make it to the end without making another stop. And they make their pit stop right here. Lose a little bit of time on pit road. You see, they're just a little bit slow on the right. They lost about a second on pit road to Kyle Busch, but they ran 2 laps longer on the racetrack on the old tires than did the 18 car. So that cost them a little bit of time. Ended up losing quite a bit of track position. You can see this tire that came off the right front. That looks like trouble, Jamie.
Well, it is. Remember, I said he was complaining of a bad vibration. That's it. That is the right front tire corded down. Well, you see it's been split down to the cords. But he said to his team, he admitted, he said, guys, the beginning of that stint, I was racing my brother just too hard and I wore the tires out. So he got some fresh Goodyears on there. And guys, this 2 car, they say they're going to be 2 laps short.
Yeah, they made they went the longest the last stint, and if they're 2 laps short, you got to believe that the other cars will also be short.
Yeah, and he lost some more time with that tire, and we saw right before he came to pit road that the one car had got around him. It got Kurt way high coming out of turn 2. He probably lost a half a second, maybe even 3/4 of a second right there, just trying to gather everything back. So all of that added up to him being back quite a few spots.
So Kurt Busch being shown in 4th position. Behind him in 5th spot is the 5 car. There comes Mark Martin in the 5 car. He's being shown 5th on the racetrack, 2nd in the point standings, now just 75 points back of Jimmie Johnson. And if you just joined our coverage, that's been the big story today. The headline story: Jimmie Johnson, our points leader, on lap through 3, a major accident. The car had to go to the garage area for over an hour and be totally rebuilt. He has been back now on the racetrack, showing in 39th position, 125 laps down.
Andy, I'm going to ask you something about Mark Martin and Alan Gustafson, his crew chief. Agonizing right now. If you're a little bit short, what do? You've been allowed back in the championship battle, but do you risk staying out there and trying to run this to the end?
Yeah, it is a hard decision to make, especially if you're closer. I think that the 5 car's a little bit too short to try to stretch this on fuel, and if they do, they'll give away a lot of points that they could have made up on the 48. If I'm Alan Gustafson sitting on that box, I believe if it goes green, I'm going to go ahead and make that pit stop without risking running out of fuel and sitting down there trying to get it started again and losing just a lot of spots.
What a day for Jimmie Johnson. We talked about the fact that he had what seemed to be a comfortable lead when the day began, but here's lap 3, and watch Sam Hornish.
Yeah, you can see right there, Sam Hornish got into him. Jimmie trying to correct it. Ran out of room there, back into the 77, into the inside wall hard. Took him a long time to make the repairs. A long afternoon and evening. Now we have a championship battle again.
1 hour and 8 minutes in the garage area, Andy. You've lived that. I mean, they basically peeled the car away and rebuilt it from the firewall forward, with the exception of the engine and a lot of suspension parts.
They've done a great job fixing this car. Since they've come out, they have lost about 7 or 8 laps after they came out, but they still did a great job to keep this car up to the minimum speed without having to make any other really significant repairs. So they've done really well, about all they can do, really.
Now, the cars that have fallen out and come back on the racetrack are not helping Jimmie. Here's the 43 car, Reed Sorensen, back on the track, and he was a car that Jimmie was hoping to be able to catch, because Sorensen has now completed 209 laps, and Johnson has only completed 168.
Yeah, just a few more laps. He'll go past Edwards and get that spot.
Man, looking forward to the next 2 weeks. You've got a 1 mile, what's basically a short track for these guys next week. Anything can happen there. And then on to Homestead, where I'm sure Curtis Gray's probably sitting in the ticket office taking orders himself down there. He's the general manager, president of that place. So I'm sure they're excited about all of this too.
We talk about Jimmie Johnson chasing NASCAR history for the season, but trying to win his 4th consecutive. How about Kyle Busch chasing NASCAR history here for the weekend at Texas Motor Speedway, trying to win all 3 at the same racetrack?
Well, you see right there, though, Kyle Busch, it looks like he's giving up a spot to this 96 car. I'm just wondering if he still may have a problem. He's been talking about that vibration.
Well, he just slowed down abruptly in the middle of the corner, and we are told now that he is saving fuel. He is about 3.5 laps shy. 37 laps to go. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Laps clicking away here at Texas Motor Speedway. Great crowd. Biggest purse of the chase, and boy, we could be seeing the total complexion of the chase change. Jeff Gordon trying to stay on the lead lap. Not going to happen. Kyle Busch going by with 31 laps to go. A lot of concern about what's going to happen among the top 5 cars with fuel mileage. Why don't we check in with the top 5, starting with our leader, Kyle Busch, and Vince.
Well, Kyle Busch started out about 3 laps short after that previous communication in the radio that we had played for you. Since then, it has gotten to within about a lap and a half as you see Jeff Gordon go underneath Kyle. So Busch is backing it out, definitely trying to save fuel, hoping that they get a yellow. Another one hoping for a yellow is the 00 of David Rudeman. He's running second. Rodney Childers, the crew chief, helping Rudeman and where to lift and what RPMs to run to save as much fuel as possible. But they had indicated they were much shorter on fuel than Kyle Busch. So they are in desperate need of a yellow, or they're going to have to come get some gas. Jamie?
And behind him, Matt Kenseth. Look at him. He started 30th today, and now he's running 3rd, the best he has all day long. I just checked in with the crew. combination and the Ford engine. Now, just ahead of him, the 2-car of Kurt Busch. I just double-checked with Pat Trice and his crew chief, and he said we are still 2 laps short. They are conserving, but they're not conserving enough, Dave.
Jamie, what do you do if you're Alan Gustafson for Mark Martin running in 5th? You don't get burned twice in 1 year. Remember Michigan? They made the wrong call on fuel. They finished 31st and kicked themselves back to 12th in the points at that time. Nearly missed the chase based on that. He's already told Mark, we're about 6 laps short. You go for it. Get all you can. We can't make it. Shannon?
Dale Jr. very happy with the car right now, says it's really coming in on the long run. Lance McGrew, crew chief for Dale Jr., said they're about 5 laps short right now on the racetrack, but this is a great run for this 88 car. Dave?
6 laps ago, Tony Stewart radioed in, can we make it? Darian Grubb's response, no we can't. We are 6 laps short. They'll have to come down pit road as well. Doc?
So between 2 and 6 laps shy, these guys in the top 5, and they need some help here. Need a caution flag, or if they don't, they're going to have a very good final stops.
Okay, my question is, Andy, how many of those guys can you believe, actually?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, sometimes you just get kind of optimistic with those numbers. You want to try to make it. You tell your driver to save me some fuel. You know, you're trying to make it. And also, you don't want other teams to know what your real strategy is, so you might kind of hold those cards a little close to your vest.
Remember, it was at Talladega in the final laps that people running out of fuel actually helped Jimmie Johnson because he was able to move up and finish 6th. And that's not going to help him right now because he's trying to get as many laps as possible. Johnson being shown in 38th position.
Yeah, he just passed Carl Edwards. It wasn't all that exciting because Carl was sitting in the garage, but he did make up a spot on him.
Now, if Juan Pablo Montoya continues to run, has been back on the racetrack, Jimmie Johnson will not be able to gain any more laps. Right now, it's about, 24 laps between Johnson and Montoya. Montoya needs to be on the track 2 more laps, and Jimmie Johnson and then will be frozen and finish in 38th position.
And it's just a matter of where can Mark Martin finish. Can these other guys make it? And if he's going to definitely have to pit, where's that going to put him in the finishing lineup?
And if you're Mark Martin, chasing this guy for the win, but also chasing Jimmie Johnson for the championship, and you've been doing it for 27 years, this could be a major, major day because, you know, you got a great car going to Phoenix and you got a really good car going to Homestead.
Yeah, but let's face it, it's going to be around 70-80 point lead for Jimmie Johnson. So it, you know, really could have been a lot worse for Jimmie had the 5-car had a little better day going and maybe not as many cars fell out. So it's kind of worked out a little bit in Jimmie's favor.
And you can see as the 1 car comes onto pit road, it looks like maybe a little bit of short pitting, but you can see that Jeff Gordon had gone back by the 18 car, so Kyle is saving some fuel right now.
And if you cannot make it short pitting, you need to try to run as many laps as you can on good tires. That's the thing they're trying to do here. They're get in here, get fresh tires, have some time left here to make time up on the rest of the cars that do pit. So they only got right sides. Don't need a lot of fuel to make it to the end, so they didn't want to waste a lot of time on pit road getting the extra tires.
Remember, Truex came in, he was running in the top 10. He came in now with 24 laps to go. There comes the leader by. Now the 9 car of Casey Kane, who had been running in the top 12 and now being shown on a lap down in 18th position, is having some issues.
Yeah, he's on 7 cylinders. This car's been sick for the last few laps, and I'm sure he's just trying to nurse it to the finish. But if it blows up and a ton of smoke comes out of it, NASCAR will have to throw a caution. So guys that think they can make it on fuel are praying for this thing not to blow up, and vice versa for the other car.
Whoa. Well, he just did get above the 17 car of Kenseth, who was coming in.
Yeah, that's one of the other things that makes this pit road so difficult. You stay right on the racetrack until you get to the pit road entrance.
Got to make sure you hustle down, but don't speed at 45 miles an hour. Jamie.
Well, Matt Kenseth, guys, as I reported, he was going to be about 10 laps short, so they're going to pit and go for it right now, fill it up. Let's see what they do here. It's going to be an audible call, right sides only for Matt Kenseth, guys.
Kenseth down and away now, battle for second position. Rudeman in the 00. The 2 of Kurt Busch now beginning to move right in on him. Remember, the 1 car on fresh tires has already been on pit road on and off. That's Truex, and he should be able to go by the 00 pretty easily. Although right now he's hanging about a couple of car lengths back.
Well, as we said, that 2 car went the longest in that last green flag stint. So he has the most fuel of anybody there. He's got a fast race car on top of that. You would think that he would be sitting pretty much in the catbird seat at this moment, but he's not sure what kind of strategy his brother's on either. I think they probably know that the 00 of David Rudeman, who pitted quite a few laps before that, actually 3 laps before the 18 car did, he probably is not going to be able to make it.
Greg Biffle on pit road for what will be his final stop as he comes down, and they'll put a couple of gallons in his car.
And put some tires on also. Jamie?
And it'll be the same call for Greg Biffle. Right sides only, get as much fuel as it takes time to put those tires on. Should be about 7.5 seconds. Good 2-tire stop for Greg Biffle.
AJ Allmendinger is on pit road. He got 2 right side tires as well and heads back out. Allmendinger again with a good run, was running in 12. Tony Stewart has decided to come down pit road as well at this point. Remember, they were about 6 laps short, so they'll short pit by just a little bit. His car not handling quite to his satisfaction. They will make a little wedge adjustment in the left rear of that car. It's going to be 2 tires for Stewart as well. And up on the wall are Mark Martin's guys. He'll be pitting soon in addition.
So he is down and away. Come back on the racetrack. You see the battle for second heating up on the right side of your screen as the 2-car Kurt Busch now moving in right on the back of the 00 of David Rudeman.
I'd have to say somebody like Mark Martin needs to stay out there as long as they possibly can, just in case a caution would come out. They don't want to get caught in that position, so they need to play this as long as they can.
They need to be careful, though. A lot of these cars that are pitting, all of them are going down a lap, but here comes Mark. They'd get the wave around if the caution did come out, if the leaders did pit.
39's in Newman. Shannon.
Ryan Newman said, come on, guys, let's go for it. Tony Gibson said there's no way that we're going to make it on fuel. It's going to be right sides only for the 39. Dave.
And to DJ's point, some crew chiefs are gambling that there will be a caution, including the 31 of Jeff Burton staying out for now. Actually, Burton is on pit road as well. They quit gambling. Mark Martin's on pit road. They'll take on 2 right side tires and get him the splash of gas. He needs to go to the end.
Mark Martin down and away, and Kurt Busch now going to the high side, trying to get around the 00 as Martin comes out.
Yeah, looks like Burton, he checked his odds and realized they weren't in his favor, so he went ahead and pitted. Forget that gamble.
And Busch, now we got Kurt Busch in second, Kyle Busch leading. Here comes the 7 car down pit road. Robbie Gordon as he's coming in for his final stop, and let's go over the wall with Hollywood Armstrong. As he comes in, watch Hollywood change those tires. Two tires and Robbie's down and away. 14 laps to go, and if you're Kyle Busch, I guess you know you got to make a pit stop, and really the last thing you may want to see is a caution flag because of the issues you've been having most of the day on restarts.
I think he might take his chance, though, especially if he's going to definitely have to pit.
You see Rudeman right there in the 00. He's kind of pedaling his car, trying to make some extra gas mileage, and there's the 17 of Matt. He just pitted and got some tires and fuel, so he's going to try to run as hard as possible to the end.
See Dale Jr. right behind at the end of that pack right there, really sliding his car coming out of turn 2.
We're running our race bus. The 2 cars starting to back up too. They're trying to save fuel.
That's the 18 radio. You hear that both Busch brothers are trying to save fuel and make it to the end. Now the question is going to be, how much are they going to be able to back off and save?
Slow down.
See Dave Rogers now telling Kyle Busch to slow down.
Reminds you a little bit of Carl Edwards last year here, a little history here. Remember, hey, when was the last time brothers finished 1-2? Can you remember, folks? A 1-2 finish for a pair of brothers in NASCAR Sprint Cup. How about way back in October of 1999? It was Jeff and Ward Burton at Rockingham that finished
done it
first
a
and
few
second.
times too.
Yep. Burton boys been pretty good, but how about the fact that never have Kyle and Kurt finish first and second?
They got some work to do it today. They'll have to get some great mileage.
And I'm not sure how much that Kyle can back off right here, because it's not like Kurt's way behind. He's less than 4 seconds behind him.
And Jeff Gordon will be coming on the pit road to make his stop. Get a couple of gallons of gas and 2 right side tires. Got to believe for that 24 car. He's now being shown third in the points, 109 behind Jimmie Johnson. Let's go down to Dave.
And Doc, they gambled as long as they could. Remember, if a caution would have come out, they would have been able to pit and take advantage of that situation, but it didn't, so they will splash. And they won't even change tires for Jeff. Just a quick splash and go.
Okay, we're getting inside that 10 laps to go. We're seeing now the gamblers. It looks like it's going to be the 18, the 2, the 00, 88, and 47, and possibly the 29 of Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin. They haven't pitted yet.
Let's update the 2 car. Jamie.
Well, Doc, Kurt Busch has been told by his team that Kyle Busch, his brother, is going to be 3 laps short. So Kurt came on the radio and said, okay, so disregard the 18. They said disregard the 18. Vince?
The 00 of David Rudiman is running third, and Rudiman is trying to save fuel as well. As you look at the 2 car of Kurt Busch, running right behind Rudiman is the teammate 55, Michael Waltrip. And what they've told Waltrip is stay right behind Rudiman. If he would happen to run out at the end, push him across. Keep our eye on that one. That should be interesting.
Only problem, Vince, that's not legal. It's legal to push somebody, but not on the last lap. If it's 1 lap to go on the white flag lap, you're not able to get assistance. You see now Junior's going to come down pit road and abort his gamble, get fuel.
They thought about it and said not worth the risk. We've had a good run there. Let's not throw it away. So he's going to come on and try to get that car woed down and put some fuel in his car here with 7 laps to go. Shannon.
Dale Jr. bringing his car down pit road. It is going to be a splash and go, and that will be all for the 88 car. There he goes. He's out of his pit box.
A little bit of fuel there to get that thing refired, and Junior's not firing. He's rolling, but the car is stalled on pit road. Trying to get it refired and still rolling, but not coming up.
That's not good news because those things are so hard to start.
Keep spinning it over. Keep spinning it over. Second battery on.
Trying to get him fired. Lance McGrew watching there.
Not likely this car is going to start. I mean, once he's gone this far, those batteries and starters are just only spin so much, and it takes a lot of battery power to spin enough fuel from that fuel tank up to the engine.
Remember last week at Talladega, they held that 24 car on pit road until they got fuel pressure. They had to get
they were putting fuel in with the bottle, with a little fuel bottle in the cowl opening there. Here comes Rudiman. He's not going to be able to make it. He's out of fuel.
Yeah, are they going to let the 88 sit there on pit road, or could that possibly bring out a caution? I mean, it's not on the racetrack, but it is a hazard on pit road.
He is in the middle of pit road. Here comes the 00 down for his final stop. Vince.
There you see the 00 of David Rudiman. He is in. We told you just a few moments ago they thought they were going to be short. In fact, early on they anticipated 10 laps short. So it ends up being about 5 laps short. So they're putting fuel in and trying to fire the 00. But he's not going to get the finish. Boy, they had a really good run today, but not likely going to get that finish that it justifies the good run that they had.
Thank you, Vince. And the 88 car did get it fired, so Dale Jr. now leaving pit road and trying to get back up to speed on the racetrack.
Well, another weekend where the 88's just not going to get the finish. He ran great all day in the top 5 most of the day. And here, unfortunately, their finishing results aren't going to show that.
Okay, 3 to go. This time by for Kyle Busch. Can he make it? This is in that range that they didn't think they had enough fuel to make it.
They said they
I'm out. Coming to you. I'm out. I'm out.
He's out. Okay, he's pitting.
He'll be on pit road. And what about Kurt now behind him? Kurt never pitted 2 laps later.
He's coming off of turn 2, so Kyle Busch has a long way to go.
So all the way down the backstretch for the guy who has dominated the day and led the race, trying to chase a little bit of history here at Texas Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch.
8 seconds, 2 to go.
Okay, that was Kurt Busch taking 2 to go at the line. He's headed into 1.
Remember, Kurt Busch pitted 2 laps later than did his brother Kyle, who was out of gas and on pit road.
Marcus Ambrose is up in that 2nd spot now, trying to nurse his home.
You see now Kurt Busch is just really pedaling that car now, trying to make this last lap. He's got 1 more lap to go. Now Marcus Ambrose is out of fuel.
White flag, that time by.
Take care of it, bring it to the house.
Kurt Busch trying to milk it for 1 more lap. He has never won at Texas Motor Speedway.
And Kyle Busch still sitting on pit road, not able to get refired. Just barely rolling.
Kurt Busch's lone win in 2009 was on a 1.5-mile track, a sister track to this one at Atlanta Motor Speedway down in March. A year ago, Carl Edwards stretched the fuel mileage and won it here. And once again tonight, the fuel mileage works, and Kurt Busch will go to victory lane here at Texas.
Nice, great job out there. Woo! Way to go, guys! Awesome deal. That's the old tortoise versus the hare, baby. Woo! Yeah, baby, way to do it, baby. Way to save that gas, man. Great job, everybody.
They're still waiting on the second place car to cross the line. Looks like it's going to be Kevin Harvick if he can make it around. He's trying to. Nope, it's going to be Denny Hamlin.
Harvick goes by for third. Or actually, no, further back than that, Kenseth will be up there. Mark Martin's going to end up in fourth spot.
And Kevin Harvick was coasting along out of field. There is Mark Martin. He finishes fourth, and now the points margin down to 73 unofficially. And there's Jimmie Johnson. Johnson will be credited with finishing in 38th position, 129 laps down. So 184-point lead when the day began now is down to 73 points. And how about $1 million bonus to Michael McGee, the Dickies American Worker of the Year? Michael, 25 years of age, out of Broken Bow, Oklahoma, who's an agricultural teacher. He said he would use the money to initiate a scholarship for students in need. How about that? And I bet you that young man.
Oh, don't you know he was breathing hard those last couple laps.
Wow.
$1 million though.
Well, Kurt Busch ran great all day long and then saved fuel when he needed to. Dave?
And I see Kurt still running. How much do you think is left in the tank, Pat?
I don't know if he'll make it back or not. We were pretty close to running out there, but once everybody started pitting, we were able to save a little more. And as soon as Kyle ran out, we saved as much as we could. So hopefully he'll make it back around. If not, we'll see him in Victor Lane. We'll spray a little bit of Miller Lite, and we'll have a good time tonight.
How about winning this race and winning somebody $1 million?
That's awesome. You know, I'm real happy for that guy. I think he said he's going to give us all half. I'm not sure, but that's what we're kind of hoping for.
Yeah, but Pat's leaving the team, so I'm not sure if that's going to work out or not. Great day today for Kurt Busch and everybody on this team.
And the backwards victory lap there, Kurt Busch, he did it in Atlanta back in the spring. Being able to pay tribute and wave to the fans. And how about that?
That's pretty cool.
2 years in a row, fuel mileage, able to milk the fuel mileage home and get to victory lane here at Texas. And what a day for the point standings. A totally new chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Just 73 points separates Mark Martin from Jimmie Johnson. Look at Gordon, he's only 112 back. Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart. So you got 5 drivers less than 200 points back with 2 races to go.
And Mark Martin knocks 100+ points off of that lead. He's got to feel like he's got a shot at it now.
Now, how about our Gillette in the clutch moment? And it was the pit stop by these guys on lap 278. They had to get in and out, and they had to get it completely full of fuel.
Yeah, they made it just the right time, told Kurt to save fuel. He did a great job doing that. They told him not to race his brother Kyle because they were going to run out of fuel. They did, and it worked out perfectly for this 2 team.
They waited 2 laps longer than other people, than Kyle Busch to pit, and that 2 laps made the difference. To find out how your favorite athletes prepare for success, go to ESPN.com, search Locker Room Report. How about Kurt Busch there, just backwards and trying to drive it backwards using the mirrors? Let's hear from Jimmie Johnson. Vince.
Well, the full range of emotions of the victory for Kurt Busch, and the frustration probably for Jimmie Johnson after that early incident. The team was able to get the car back and get laps, but just your reaction to having your lead shrink down to just 73 points.
You know, it's still a respectable lead. I mean, you know, 73 with 2 to go is a good position to be in. Man, I hate that we gave up all these points tonight. Sam just lost it inside of me, and I wish he could have waited a little longer to lose it. I saw that he lost it later on in the race, and he can do that from time to time. I just wish he would have waited a little while longer and didn't take me out in the process, but it's one of those things. I mean, not much we can do about it. We're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But the guys did a great job to get this car back out on track to pick up a couple more spots, and we'll go to Phoenix and race. And we got 2 great racetracks for us. We didn't want this by any means, but we're still in a great position, and we'll go to Phoenix and race.
You remained in the car for over an hour as the team worked on the car in the garage. You stayed in there, helmet on. What was going through your mind during that time?
Just trying to play back through the crash and what happened, and if I could have done anything differently. And I could have maybe given him more room, but I would have had a more direct angle at the wall and would have hit the outside wall. So I think back, I was just hopeful we'd get out. Hopefully there'd be some cautions and we can make up some spots. And the first report Chad gave me wasn't good. He thought we were gonna have to put the car in the truck. The car was so tore up. So as time went on, I could see their spirits lift, and I knew we'd at least get back out on track. And I started to focus on the things I needed to and quit worrying about the points.
Well, it didn't look very good, but what was the car like to drive there for those laps during the course of this race?
Wasn't very good either. That thing is beat up. It is not a fun car to drive up. We kept up to the minimum speed and made it.
Yeah, Jimmie Johnson, he'll take a lead to Phoenix. 2 races to go.
Folks, it all unfolded back on lap 3 of the race, and Jimmy was talking about Sam, and that was Sam Hornish in the 77 car that came up across the track and just nipped him in the rear, and suddenly he would get hit again and then pound the inside wall.
You heard him talk about Sam losing. Actually, Sam got touched a little bit there, so I think once he sees that and understands that, he'll know exactly what happened a little bit more. Not that it's going to ease the pain any.
They had to rebuild the car, spent over an hour in the garage area. Whole new front end, rear end watering system. They changed the suspension on the car, new rear end housing, new trailing arms. And he would lose 111 points here and now have only a 73-point lead. Look at that. How about that for Kurt Busch? Let's go down and visit with the second place finisher, Denny Hamlin. Shannon.
What a great run for Denny Hamlin. I know that this chase has just been so tough for you guys. How badly did you need the second place finish tonight?
Well, yeah, we definitely did, but hats off to Mike and this whole FedEx Office camera team. It's just, we had a really good car and just had a horrendous day in the pits. It seemed, we just dropped so many spots on pit road that we just couldn't overcome that track position. And I was trying to make something happen, got in the wall, and ended up killing our car. But the good part about that is I was now able to save fuel because there was no pressure from behind. So I was able to save fuel, and our Camry got the best fuel mileage it got all day.
Yeah, it was half a lap to the good, and Denny Hamlin made it happen. He also moved up to 8th in the points. Doc?
So a comeback of sorts for Denny Hamlin, being able to finish in second spot. And how about this young man here? He had never won at this racetrack, and he's able to win a fan $1 million.
It is a Miller Lite beer bath down here. What a celebration. They had to push you into victory lane here. Kurt, what is going through your mind with a few laps to go? You're like, are you sure? I don't need to worry about the 18. What's going on, and how much did it take to conserve?
Yeah, I saw him peel off a couple laps before us, and I wanted to get to him, but I didn't want to get there too fast. You got to save a little bit of fuel, but yet I knew what we had for fuel mileage. I was confident in my guys' numbers. They gave me what I needed to win today. A great Miller Lite Dodge. We were fast. We were playing cat and mouse with Kyle on restarts, and that was the first true time that Kyle and I raced each other hard for a victory like this. And for us to come away and knock him off his sweep he was trying to go for, it's bittersweet. I was rooting for him, but at the same time, this is for us and Miller Lite and Dodge. And I want to thank the fans. I want to thank Operation Homefront. They've been on our car for a few weeks, and it ends here with Veterans Day, and it's just unbelievable. And right now, Penske Racing, this team, we're on it. We're doing good, and just kind of hit it solid. And thanks to Sprint, they do a great job with our series.
Operation Homefront, you see members of the Army here, servicemen in victory lane with you, Kurt. Let's talk about your crew chief, Pat Trice. And I talked to him today, and it's like, hey, a win would be everything. You guys have 3 races to go, 2 more now. What does it mean for you to get back to victory lane with him?
Well, I don't know what the future holds, and so for me, we got to get the best we can right now, and this is what Pat feels as well. He doesn't know what his future holds, and we just want to work together the best that we can. We want to give this the best that we can, and right now to come away on top, it shows our commitment. It shows this team's commitment, and right now back with the engineering department, I held them back from bringing this car, and they wanted to bring this car, and so I got to thank them, Tom German, our body hangers. This was something special. The engine was there for the power, and most of all, the fuel mileage, so thanks to Dodge for that.
And it was a brand new race car, and you brought her to victory lane in one shot. 29 races. Kurt Busch is back in victory lane.
Second win of the year for Kurt Busch, first ever at this racetrack, Texas Motor Speedway. He gains a couple of spots in the point standings from 6th to 4th. And unofficially, Kurt will be credited with leading 6 times for 89 laps. The backward victory lap, a smiling Kurt Busch. And how about a young man that won $1 million, Michael McGee, $1 million richer because this guy went to victory lane tonight.
Kurt Busch celebrating his 20th NASCAR Sprint Cup Series win in Texas Motor Speedway's victory lane after he took this afternoon's Dickies 500, leading 89 laps. His brother Kyle Busch led 232 between them. The Busch brothers led all but 13 laps of this race. A dominant performance. One is celebrating, the other is licking his wounds after running out of fuel late. The other big story on the day, besides Kyle Busch coming up short in his bid for the triple, the championship, Jimmie Johnson in the early wreck, finishing this race in 38th spot, while Mark Martin managed to overcome the fuel strategies going on late, Rusty and Brad, to finish 4th.
Mark did a great job. There's just no doubt about that, to finish 4th. And boys, we got a race right now for this championship. I just think this is a good deal going on right now, Brad.
Yeah, hats off to Alan Gustafson and Mark Martin for going ahead and making that fuel stop and capturing and taking advantage of the opportunity they had today. They knocked a huge deficit out of those points today, and they got a great chance going into Phoenix.
Let's talk about 73 points, 2 races. How big, how small of a lead is that?
Well, it's a pretty sizable lead. We do know that. Jimmie Johnson's had less of a lead to go on to win in past years. But, I mean, still, he can lose it all in one race. We saw that today. I mean, Jimmie's not going to feel comfortable until he gets to Homestead, and it's all over right now. And Mark feels like he's got a chance right now. Him and Alan Gustafson, they're going to be sleeping pretty good tonight.
Yeah, it's still a pretty substantial lead considering his past 3 years of winning. It's in the middle of being the highest total. But he lost 110 points today due to an accident. It can happen again. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon, though. I still think he's going to be 4-time heavyweight champ, but it makes it awful exciting. It just shows you that that's why we run the race.
Well, let's see how Mark Martin's feeling after coming home with a 4th place finish in Texas tonight.
Well, that is how you make up 111 points on the championship leader. Mark, would you ever anticipated that it could happen this way?
It happened this way in reverse last week. So, I'm not really sure why everybody counts everything out. When it comes right down to performance, you can't beat those guys, Jimmie Johnson and those guys. But it's not over yet. The top 6, though, I still kind of baffled at why everybody is so preoccupied with 1st and 2nd. The top 6 spots are being raced for like a dogfight. And I got 2 guys, 2 champions that knocked me out of championships breathing down my neck. So the race is still on for all of us. And I just want to brag on Alan Gustafson and everybody on the Kellogg's CarQuest Chevrolet. We were junk yesterday. Fair at the start of the race. Halfway through the race, they hit on something, and it was a top 5 car. We clawed our way back into the top 5 with it. I can't believe it. It is so much fun to drive their race car.
Mark, 73 is a lot to make up in 2 races. How is your performance, and do you think you can go at least head-to-head with the 48 and see what happens again?
Yeah, we can go head-to-head with them, no doubt about it. At Phoenix, we led the most laps and won last time there, and we have no reason to think that we can't run strong at Homestead together. There could still be swings in the points. There's 2 races left. You never know what's going to happen. So I'm really blessed to get to drive their stuff and be in this position. And no matter what the outcome is, we've given we've raced our guts out, and I'm so proud of this team.
4th today, and now much more so with a shot.
Mark Martin led the most laps and won the Phoenix race back in April. Jimmie Johnson finished 4th in that race. That sets the stage as we move ahead to the 2nd to last round of the season. Mark, kind of putting it in perspective, something I say and people give me kind of strange looks, but you can't really figure how this is going to end until it's done.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think it's going to be interesting, though, is, Chad Canals and Jimmie Johnson, they rarely have these types of problems anyway. So to have them 2 weeks in a row would just be unlikely. So I expect them to be back on their game next week at Phoenix. Mark Martin will be on his game, Jeff Gordon. So we should have a good race, but I think Jimmie Johnson still has a comfortable lead.
I like how Mark Martin said, look, it's not over. He's still crashing and clawing, and I know you're like that too, Alan. I am also. Yeah. Hey, until it's done, it's done. But right now, he does have a fighting chance, and there's a lot of people out there like to see that 50-year-old Mark Martin win that championship. Probably me also.
I would too.
There you go. Now, The track president here, Eddie Gossage, he's a big showman, right? So, you know the old cliche, it's not over till the fat lady sings.
Yeah.
He wanted to put the crown on Jimmie Johnson, so he hired this singer to come and sing at the end of the race. I don't think he anticipated the events of lap 3 when he had this little stunt planned, though. You think?
No comment.
All right. The other story of the weekend, mentioned Kyle Busch a minute ago. Tried to make the history, make the triple. He was dominant today. He led 232 of the 334 laps, and coming to 2 to go while leading, the fuel tank ran dry. Shannon is with his crew chief, Dave Rogers.
Alan, Kyle Busch has already left the racetrack. We'll catch up with Dave Rogers. Obviously not the ending that you guys wanted, but a great race today. How would you describe the day?
You know, you were disappointed. This 18 M&M's Toyota Camry deserves to be in victory lane. I thought we had one of the best cars throughout the entire race, but just didn't work out that way. We're a little short on fuel. We had Kyle back down. We thought he was saving enough fuel, and I don't know, we missed a number somewhere, or we didn't get it full, or we didn't pick up all we thought we could pick up. I can't explain why we ran out. We'll take it back to the shop, take a look at it.
It's your first race with Kyle as crew chief. You said the most important thing today was just finding direction. Did you guys find that direction?
Yeah, definitely. You know, Mike Ford and Greg Zipadelli helped us out a lot. You know, they gave us a lot of pointers. We unloaded with the same setup the 11 car did, and just worked on it from there. And yeah, I think we learned a lot today. Right now, it's hard to think cohesively because coherently. Because disappointed in the results, but we're pleased.
Yeah, definitely a bittersweet day for this 18 team. Alan?
There were 681 laps of racing run this weekend here at Texas Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch led 465 of them, 68% of every lap run this weekend. Even through the green flag pit stops, he was out in front.
Taking
Amazing.
names, boy.
Stay tuned. We'll be joining a new episode of America's Funniest Home Videos at the end of tonight's race. Never know, this might end up on it. Viewers on the West Coast can see videos at its regular time of 7 o'clock.
She's just vertically challenged.
Just stop.
I am going to stop. I'm not saying
I ain't saying nothing.
More post-race coverage from Texas. Hang on. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Today at Texas, the picture changed a little bit, leading us on to the final 2. Phoenix International Raceway in the Valley of the Sun next Sunday, and the Homestead Miami Speedway for the final in 2 weeks, both live on ABC. Tickets for both available. NASCAR.com/tickets has the information for you. So the promotion earlier today by the race sponsor Dickies. The American Worker of the Year. He had to randomly select a driver yesterday, and then if that driver won the race, he got $1 million. Well, Michael McGee randomly selected Kurt Busch, and Jamie, I think it worked out okay.
It really did. He actually got to meet Kurt this morning. Look at this face, 24 years old, and he is a millionaire now. What are you going to do with the money?
Well, I think for starters, I'll probably pay my house off, and then I train horses, so I'd probably build a barn and a covered arena.
What has this whole experience been like from this morning when you got here and met Kurt?
I don't even know what to think. I'm just in shock. This has been just incredible. It's I think it's like a dream or something. Maybe a dream come true. I don't know, but it's been amazing.
Now, when you picked the number 2, what did people say? Were they like, that's a good choice, or were they like, not really, it's somebody else?
Well, what they did is they brought out 12 girls representing the top 12 drivers. And I had in my mind that I would pick number 7, and that's what I did. I just stuck with it and picked the 7th girl that came in, and that happened to be number 2, and I guess it worked well for me tonight.
Hey, they say number 7 is lucky. I'm from Vegas. I think it paid off. Congratulations. Spend it wisely. Alan.
That is just a great story and wonderful to see. The young man from Broken Bow, Oklahoma, and he has now got $1 million thanks to the Dickies promotion and Kurt Busch winning the race today. Let's talk to some of the other top finishers in this race. Matt Kenseth finished 3rd. Vince?
6th straight top 10 finish here at Texas for Matt Kenseth. A good 3rd place finish today. Came in, got fuel with about 25 to go. How was your run up to that point?
Well, it was pretty good. We were in a big hole. We took off this weekend. We weren't running very good and qualified 30th. And Drew and Chip and all the overall guys did a great job today as well. We had good pit stops and slowly clawed our way toward the front. So I thought we were going to run 3rd, 4th, or 5th without the whole fuel strategy. And when I seen how many laps were in between that last run, I asked Drew right away if we were going to make it. And he said we were 10 short. And I saw Kurt had a real fast car. Plus, he was stretching his fuel. So I knew we were probably in trouble there. But overall, we had a great strategy, a really good solid day for the DeWalt guys.
What do you guys feel like you're making strides strides here down the stretch as you look ahead to 2010?
I feel like we're doing better. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think we're gaining on it for sure. I think next week will be a really good test. We've been really bad, especially us at 17 at the flat tracks and the short tracks. So Phoenix will be a really big test for us, see if we're competitive there, and then look forward to going to Homestead.
Good run today for Matt Kenseth, top 5.
Okay, Vince, and at the finish of the race, we saw Kevin Harvick coasting to the start-finish line. Unofficial scoring pending the traditional post-race recheck. Kevin shows up in 5th position today. quite a way to get to that top 5 at the end of the day for our in-race reporter. Dave?
Well, our in-race reporter came home today with a top 5, and after starting 24th, Kevin, I don't know if you thought necessarily you'd be getting here at this point, so how did you get here?
We had a solid top 10 car the second half of the race, and I think we were running 7th or 8th there towards the end, and we were a couple laps short, so we just kind of went into fuel conservation mode because we had a big gap with our Shell Pennzoil Chevy. So we gave up a couple spots, and those guys ran out of gas, and we kept going and ran out with 1 to go. So still a good day, and those are the chances that we're supposed to take right now.
And you guys are making a lot of changes over there, so things tend to shuffle a little bit from week to week. Looks like you had everything together today.
Yeah, you know, the speed in the cars are coming back, and now we're just looking for that consistency that we've always had before. So we've got speed back in the cars, and that's what the first step needed to be, and now we just need to get that top 10, top 5 mode back, and then that's when you start winning races again.
All right. Thanks for being our reporter today. Good job.
Now standing by with Jeff Gordon, who finished 13th today and picked up 80 points on Jimmie Johnson in the chase battle for that lead, but I know it wasn't kind of the day you'd hoped for. How would you assess it?
I think more than anything is a missed opportunity. You know, we just, I'm just terrible at this place. I just am. I don't know what it is. I just don't have, I can qualify, and the guys gave me a great car on Friday, but I just don't really have the feel for this place. I don't know what it is, and it just challenged us all day today. We seemed to be the best at the beginning of the race, so we made some adjustments, tried to make it better based on what I was telling them, and we just went backwards from there, lost some track position. So it was a frustrating day, kind of more of a typical Texas day for us rather than what we had in April. And so it was a missed opportunity when the 48 had trouble. And so I'm bummed about that, but Steve Letarte did a great job getting us to 13. The whole team did, and great call there at the end. And we'll go to Phoenix and Homestead.
On to Phoenix indeed. Thanks, Jeff. Alan?
All right, Vince, thanks. So while Jeff Gordon prepares to head out of Texas, Kurt Busch and his team continue the celebration in Victory Lane. Be taking the pictures with all the different hats and all the rest for quite some time now after Kurt scores his 2nd win of a 1.5-mile track races for this year. He won at Atlanta also back in March. Show you how things unfolded throughout the 500 miles of Texas. Headline story number 1, championship leader Jimmie Johnson just 3 laps into the race. Trouble in tricky turn 2.
Off turn 2 right there. He gets 77 car. Sam Hornish hits him. Look at Jimmy spinning. Just keeps spinning. All of a sudden, across the racetrack, hits Hornish into the inside wall. Big damage right there.
Rattlesnake, baby.
An hour and 8 minutes worth of repairs back in the garage for the 48 team. Remarkable, really, when you listen to what they had to do to the car, that they even got it back on racetrack. Some of the guys closest to Jimmy in points coming in had troubles in their own too. Watch Montoya in the 42.
Montoya gets into the corner here, gets a little bit loose, and he takes Carl Edwards out of the race today, ending his day. Just a tough situation. Nowhere to go, got arrow loose, and once again, they roll to the corner of a rattlesnake.
And Montoya needed significant repairs. He finished 37th, 103 laps down. Jimmie Johnson finished 38th, 129 laps down, while Mark Martin was finishing 4th. So what was a 184-point lead for Jimmie Johnson is now 73 over Martin. Mark gained 111. Jeff Gordon gained 80. Kurt Busch gained 141. Tony Stewart gained 101. And Montoya gained 3 on Jimmie Johnson today here at the Texas Motor Speedway. So let's look ahead now to the final 2 races of the year. Mark Martin, if he were to get maximum points in the final 2 races, meaning lead the most laps and win each of the final 2 races, Jimmie Johnson would need to finish 4th or better to claim the title. On the other side of the coin, if Martin were to gain maximum points at Phoenix, and these are some quick early calculations, and Jimmie were to finish, was the number 14th or worse, then Mark would take the point lead.
Yeah.
That's a lot of numbers. That's a lot of numbers.
So Mike sent something for me.
I can tell you, if Jimmie Johnson crashes again, Mark Martin's looking really good right now. And again, it's not over, man. There's just so much racing left. We got this race in Phoenix, a flat 1-mile racetrack, then the high bank track down in Homestead, Florida, which requires a complete different setup, a different driving style. So there is a lot of opportunity. I wouldn't be giving it up. And if I was Jimmie Johnson, I wouldn't say I've locked it up. There's no doubt about that one.
Agree or disagree with me, and why? Jimmie Johnson just wants to go to Phoenix and have a solid race so then he can go to Homestead and worry about the points.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. And like I said earlier, there's two things. Jimmie Johnson and Chad Knaus will not have a second bad race. Now, some bad luck hit them today, which they've avoided all year long, but they'll be so prepared when they go to that racetrack that they'll be up front. I bet you they qualify great and have a great day. And the second thing is, I also picked Kurt Busch to win, so I want to know if I'm going to get $1 million.
I don't think so.
Oh, man.
That's the way it goes. Sorry, you're not eligible. All right, so it's on to Phoenix. Rusty, from a driver's perspective, what's the challenge for that track? And from the fans' perspective, what should we be watching for next weekend?
Very, very slick racetrack. A good point right there, Alan. There's all about handling out there in Phoenix. It's flat, it's slimy, the place hasn't been paved in a long time, but there's some mystique about Phoenix. It feels like you're out in the Wild Wild West, which you are, and people love going there, and the drivers like racing there. Look for high contact, a lot of body damage, a lot of crashes on restarts we've had in Phoenix, Arizona. Hey, that could be a problem right there to start finish line. They've wrecked a lot of cars there.
Rusty says we're going to the Wild Wild West. I like it. We'll see how that happens next Sunday out in Phoenix. Don't forget to watch the 43rd CMA Awards live this Wednesday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central here on ABC. And next weekend, it is off to the Valley of the Sun for our coverage as the chase for the Sprint Cup moves to the desert Southwest. Post-race news conferences on ESPN News. Kurt Busch, your winner today in Texas.
Can I get $5?
A dozen riders have set their sights on the Lone Star out front.
Take our time, get this thing fixed up.
It's time to cowboy up.
117 laps behind.
Oh, trouble, turn 2. It's just a matter of where can Mark Martin finish.
The fuel mileage works, and Kurt Busch will go to victory lane here at Texas.
It's not over yet.
The chase continues.
This has been a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.